It's kind of like the herpes of computers.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, March 22nd, 2015. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 706.
This is No Agenda.
Proving the emperors have no clothes. Now twice a week. Broadcasting live from the Crackpot Condo in downtown Austin, Texas. FEMA Region 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it rained 1/100th of an inch last night, the drought is over. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
I was talking about that with someone yesterday, that California is supposed to run out of water in a year.
Yeah, that turns out to be in fact, I tweeted this.
Oh.
Turns out to be bullcrap. It was an article, is clickbait that was created by the Los Angeles Times.
Okay, because here was my first impression, and I did not dive into it. I thought, really, how do they know exactly if it's going to rain or not in this year? How much do we know that people are going to consume? I mean, they must have some model, but I don't think it's necessarily something they can really know, right?
Clickbait. Go on.
Well, tell me what the clickbait was. I want to know.
That was the clickbait. They dreamed this phony headline up.
Really?
And then didn't really back it up with any story. But the headline got out there, and that was that.
Really?
Yeah.
It wasn't based on any survey or anything like this?
No, it was clickbait. It was just, it might as well have been a sponsored link.
Wow. Okay. Let me just see what it was. You have NASA. California down to 1 year supply of water. You're telling me that they quoted NASA and it was clickbait?
Well, apparently the NASA data is not. NASA. Why is NASA involved in all this weather stuff all of a sudden? Did you notice this?
Yeah, of course. Because they got, satellites and stuff or something like that.
Everyone's got satellites.
Oh, here's the LA Times now saying, no, California won't run out of water in a year.
Oh, there you go. They had to draw back on their clickbait.
Okay.
Well, where's the NASA fit into this now with the new headline?
I don't know. Here, the in-depth Los Angeles article Wednesday. I think they really meant this, John. I don't believe that this was clickbait. I think they really had some information they thought was appropriate to put into a story.
I
got to look into this. This is worth looking into.
Well, I'll look into it, but
because people have taken this. This is what we do. Deconstruct media. People have now taken this as fact. It is already a meme. You can't even tell people it's not true.
Can't tell people anything.
Facts. On the best podcast in the universe.
All right, so came back from
Pointer. Here's Pointer, one of the top journalist watchdogs. Right. Los Angeles Times headline denounced as clickbait.
Science!
Huh.
There's a bunch of this. If you look up, if you do out of water clickbait, you find just a ton of stories.
I think it's worth looking into. There's a reason that this is done, and someone tried to benefit from it somehow. That's what went on.
That's what clickbait does. It benefits. It gets page views. It gets people to look at the dumb ads, even though it doesn't. That's a joke of that, of course. Only a few people know that fact.
Right. I have some interesting clips for global warming, climate change, Agenda 21 coming up today on the show. But of course, I re-entered the country once again, John, on Friday, coming back from the lowlands. Re-entering the country I'm now completely convinced, because this is my second time, bogus global entry system.
Oh, yeah,
This is very fun.
You're blowing it for all these guys. You're going to get some nasty notes.
Now, we already went through
Adam, shh. We know, okay. No,
but this is very important. This is very important. So I have an iPhone 6, and I set it up with the fingerprint scanner, mainly just to see how it works. And, this is
We're all in, let's face it.
Yeah, no, I'm the canary. Yeah, no. There you go. I caught it myself.
Amen. Fist bump.
Got yourself.
Yeah, I caught myself. I'm only the canary in the coal mine. I'm not all in. That is an insult to me, but that's okay. That is the typical. You like at the chat room now. That's what you do.
Yeah. WOLD.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
You're all in now. So I set up the iPhone 6.
You are
fingerprint.
All in.
Would you just
like the iPhone 6?
I do. I like it very much, and I'm all in because I'm convinced it's not going to make any difference. They're not going to be able to advertise to me properly.
Dandy, but why does it? like JC and all these other people I know that were big iPhone users for a while. They hate the iPhone 6.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm trying to get to the global entry thing. I don't care.
I'm sorry. If you were using an Android, I wouldn't be so concerned.
There's a reason for this. The reason is when you set up your fingerprint scan, it takes, you have to hold your finger down for each thumb or finger. You have to hold it down. And then you have to keep doing this probably 10 to 20 times before it has a full reading on your fingerprint. Okay. When I did the interview, they have these little red boxes with a red kind of plastic glass on top of it or whatever that is. Maybe it is glass. I don't know. You put your 4 fingers on that. And they've had, yes, 4 fingers, not your thumb. Only your fingers, not your thumb. All your 4 fingers. Of them. Are you trying to be a dick?
No, because when you say 4-finger, I'm thinking of the pointer finger, and I'm trying to clarify whether you're just putting your 4-finger on like you do on the iPhone.
Number 4.
You don't put 4 fingers on the iPhone.
Number 4. 4 fingers on the glass plate.
Okay.
All right. So it is reading 4 fingerprints at once, and I only had to keep it on there for, I will say, max 5 seconds. Oh, we've got it. Done. So this apparently is a very, very sophisticated fingerprint reader.
I bet.
But I've seen these boxes for at least 10 years at immigrations. The same, I don't think there's been any upgrade. At least externally, there hasn't been. So I was already impressed by the speed with which that was done compared to the creme de la creme of technology today, which takes considerably longer to set up your fingerprints. So when you come in and we landed in Atlanta, and there's the global entry kiosks. There's a couple changes to the process, but still, you enter your passport. You don't even need this global entry card. You don't even need it. It has a RFID chip in it, which you never use. I don't know why not. I'm in the system, but I have this card. Okay, fine. You put your passport in, and then it says, "Please get ready for the picture." They didn't say that before. I guess remember when they only caught my chin, right? And they still let me through. So I had to crouch down, and it takes my picture, and then you click on next, and then it says, now put your fingers, and it's the same red type device that's built in this kiosk, the red glass. You put your fingers on, and within 1 second, it's already scanned, because it has like 1, 2, 3, 4. You see on the screen, you see 4 boxes around like little make-believe fingerprints.
Bang, bang, bang.
And I took my finger right off at that moment. I took my whole hand right off, and it went, oh, good, we're good to go. So faster than the iPhone 6 can approve my fingerprint to unlock the phone, this thing did 4 fingerprints, checked me against the database somewhere. I'm not some kind of horrible criminal. They're going to let me in. All I had to do was now push the no to all option for all of the customs questions, which the piece of paper, if you've ever landed from abroad, you have to say, do you have cash, you have nuts and fruits, hookers, dead hookers. No. And the only thing they changed now is they say, are you sure? You said no to all, that's all. And walk right through. John, I'm telling you, this fingerprint reader is bogus. I do not believe at all.
Let me look at here. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to take the government side on this.
Okay, good.
There's no way this would be bogus, because if they were busted for that, somebody would get fired. Although probably not the way things go. You go in first, you've checked in already with your passport, so it's going immediately to the database and looking you up.
Let me ask you a question before you continue. You are the guy who watches CSI and all these shows on the big networks. Now, for all the crazy things they do with rotate, zoom, enhance, look at that little reflection in the guy's in the spoon or what?
Chrome lug nut.
Yeah. Look at that. Whenever they do a fingerprint scan, it takes like an hour, and you see it flashing by, and it narrows it down. It's never a second, ever.
No, but let me finish. You've already checked in with the passport. They know who you are, right?
Yes.
So immediately it already has your fingerprint data. It's not comparing you to everybody in the Western Hemisphere. It's got the data, and it's probably hashed. It's probably some sort of hash data where
salted hash,
where you have already it's going to come out with some value, and it's going to be a range of values based on your fingerprints. So it's got your name already, and then they got a photo, which is probably that I would say is bogus because they're not looking at anything. There's nobody. There's nobody.
No, they don't care.
Manning the store in that regard. But because they took a picture of your chin, and we already know they didn't do anything. So they take the phony picture, which is giving it more time to look up your fingerprints. You put your hand down there; it's already got your fingerprints. It says, "Is this anything close?" Yes, good. You're out of here. I don't see it being what you're suspecting it to be. Elaborate
let me tell you something. I think I agree with. That makes total sense. There is no elaborate back end. All it does is when the minute okay, this makes sense. I agree with you. You put in your passport. It's now bringing up all the information it has. That should go reasonably quick, I think. Although still, I think it's amazingly fast. Maybe.
Well, there's probably only I doubt if there's even 100,000 people in that database.
Good point.
But let's say there's.
So this would make sense. So they're not actually seeking to see if I have any felony issues or if there's any problem. Unless it's on my record, it doesn't make any difference. Then as long as there's kind of an approximate match on the fingerprints, okay, I'll buy that. This whole thing just seems weird.
Well, it's just like verifying that you're the real holder of the passport. I think that's all it's doing. Because you're already qualified to come in.
Okay.
So they just want to verify your ID. And they say, okay, here's a passport. Now let's take a picture and take a look at his fingerprints. Is that the same guy? Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Let him go.
All right. Well, of course, this is also your pre-check number. The global entry serves as pre-check. And maybe I'm just a little irked as I read about this known felon who got pre-check from the airline.
Oh, yeah, when the airlines do it.
Well, so the AP story on this.
So what, he's a felon? You can fly around on it if you're a felon?
No, I don't think so. I think if you're wanted...
Grounded? You're not grounded if you're a felon?
Well, so this is the story. A key lawmaker, blah, 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 Bernie, okay, all these douchebags. Homeland Security Department's Inspector General announced Thursday a felon convicted of murder and explosives-related offenses, I think that's a guy you want to put on a list, was allowed to pass through TSA's pre-check security lane designed for passengers who are considered a low-security risk. I think if you have explosives-related offensive, you should probably be evaluated. But I always thought it was the airlines who could just randomly add you to the if you're a frequent flyer, etc., or in your case, whatever you are, you seem to get on the...
TSA does. Our TSA. Coincidence.
But it is literally TSA who approves people randomly to be added to pre-check, and that's what happened in this case. It was not the airline. It was the TSA communicating to the airline saying, let's put these random people on the pre-check list.
Why would they randomize a bunch of people?
I'll tell you why. The only reason randomize, if they do, I think they let people like this on because they want to let them on. Maybe to get a story. I don't know what it is. But yeah, they randomly allow, I think it's for traffic management, for the lines, they randomly allow more people into pre-check, even though they are not actually a trusted traveler.
Well, let's go back to your trip.
Yes.
You came in. Did you have any incidents whatsoever? What did Chrissy do? She hasn't got the GOES thing. She has to go in a regular line.
Yes, and it took a long time. In fact, the immigrant line went faster than the residence line, strangely enough. So no, she couldn't come in with me.
So you had to wait for her.
Yeah, it took a long time to wait for the luggage anyway, and we had oversized baggage this time coming back.
Oh.
We had a box with the pole.
Now, I was reading over the weekend that there's 2 or 3 places in the world. There's Dublin is one of them. I guess it's Abu Dhabi is another one, and there may be a third, where if you're in Europe and you fly to Dublin and then fly from Dublin to the U.S.,
yeah,
they do all the customs and immigration and
they do it in Ireland itself, I think, in Dublin.
Yeah, in Dublin.
There's a couple of places that do that. I think there's some Caribbean islands that do this.
So, right, that's the other place. In fact, now I know the group is some places in the Caribbean, Abu Dhabi, Dublin, and Canada.
Canada. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Most of the time, you check in Canada. You're not checking.
Anyways, I thought
you can land in a regular terminal. You don't land in the crappy, international terminal and have to wait with, a bunch of immigrants from Somalia.
Yes, it's always them. So back in Austin, good to be back. South by Southwest, this is the last weekend that's winding down. So you drive into the city and people look kind of like rained on cats. They're all tired and they're dirty and stanky. And
Was it raining?
Yes, very, very much so, actually. It apparently was a pretty good South by, but it's supposed to rain during South by Southwest. It always does. And the Uber drivers, which is relatively new, I mean, I think it was there last year, but now it's really, everyone's using Uber. Apparently, everybody who gets into an Uber immediately hits the driver up for weed. So I don't know if this is if they succeed. Yeah. And I have a feeling that's probably the best place to get your weed is the Uber drivers.
If I was a cop, I'd get an Uber account and it had nothing but fun.
Oh, they're doing all kinds of things like that. I think I told you that Uber had been kicked off the airport. They weren't allowed to pick up fares at the airport, but because they didn't have a deal with them like Lyft did. Lyft is paying 10% of all airport pickups, and Uber now cut a deal for, I think, 40 days or something. They're paying $2,500 a day for airport rights.
Wow.
Yeah. That's interesting. See how that hashes out. I think Uber's going to buy up all transportation companies, all taxi companies. The whole idea of the sharing economy is just a red herring. Screw it. These guys want to be big. They want to own all delivery, all limos, all taxis, buses. They might have trains. God knows what else they're going to do. I really think the whole sharing thing is bogus. I think it's just
a train.
Well, think about it. Why would you name your company Uber in the first place? You are the Uber of all transportation.
Well, you can get a lot of leverage if you get, a lot of attention, a lot of the net capitalization is way up there in the billions for whatever.
40 or 50 or some crazy amount. You've got a lot of stock to play with. And I've been driving with professional drivers who are, certainly in Europe, in the Netherlands, they're cab drivers, they're licensed, they're official, and they just like the way it works, the setup, the communication you can have with your customer. It's great. That works perfectly. I think if I were Uber, why would I want a bunch of douchebags who are a pain in the ass? They're always it's like running a podcast network. If you got these Uber drivers who aren't officially licensed and insured, etc. Everyone's a pain in the ass. I'm not getting enough rides. I'm not getting promotion. And they're probably sick and tired of it. They got to have driver relations management. Just get the professional guys. Buy them all up, and then it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's the way to go. That's the thing that's being outlawed in all these countries is the unlicensed, quote-unquote, amateur drivers. You watch.
Okay, what else? That's it. I'm not hearing anything, any European report or any such thing.
No, I don't have much to say. There just wasn't much going on besides the fact that it was cold and rainy and there's nothing going on. And we're all afraid of Putin over there. That's all there is.
Well, I've got a story from Europe then.
Okay.
I hate to tell you to do this, but you're going to have to open the Climate Gate.
Oh, I'm happy to do that. It's good because I've got some Climate Gate stuff to talk about as well. Here it goes.
To the gate, to the gate, to the Climate Gate.
Here it is. Climate Gate.
So I've got this Mont Saint Michel clip, which I was as I listened to the story, something didn't make any sense to me. And I have this clip here.
You want me to play it? No other intro?
Play.
And finally, Mont Saint-Michel in Normandy briefly turned back into an island thanks to the super tide of the century. Thousands of visitors turned out to witness the dramatic event. And here's what some of them had to say.
We know that the Mont Saint-Michel becomes an island where there are important tides. And as today is the tide of the century, as they say. Well, we'll see what it's like when the Mont Saint-Michel has become an island.
We really hope to see the Mont surrounded by water, as we have never seen that before.
The high spring tide was caused by the so-called supermoon effect linked to Friday's solar eclipse. And we'll leave you here with these beautiful images.
We actually saw a little bit of the eclipse as we were departing from the Netherlands.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it was not much.
Let me ask you, you know about Mont Saint-Michel?
No, I don't know anything about it. Is this the island that was going to tip over? What is this?
Yeah, it's the island that's going to tip over. It's in the northern part of France. It's like a whole city on an island that is, I was always under the impression since this story, I never knew that the island was there just sitting there and there's been no water around it forever. And this guy who's a Frenchman says, I don't know, we've never seen this water around this island before. Mm-hmm. It's just a big mud flat with a road going up to the little town. Okay. It's actually a big town. It's beautiful, by the way. And, I'm thinking, where's all this lifting of the tides, the global oceans? How come this thing has been sitting there on a mud flat for apparently 50 or 100 years? I don't know how long it hasn't been flooded around the island. And now it got flooded only because of the super tide.
Right.
Where is the rise of the seas? Where is it?
Well, that plays nicely into two clips I picked up from Patrick Moore. Patrick Moore, co-founder of Greenpeace. And late or maybe mid last year, 2014, he did a speech and he explained why he left Greenpeace. And he also specifically talked about CO2 and climate change and the so-called warming, which he believes it is not. In fact, he's going to use a term I like using. Let me explain first why he left Greenpeace.
Why did I leave Greenpeace after 15 years? When I began with Greenpeace, we had a strong humanitarian orientation to stop all-out nuclear war, to save civilization from destruction. By the time I left 15 years later, that's the peace in Greenpeace, of course. By the time I left 15 years later, Greenpeace had drifted into a position along with the rest of the movement as characterizing humans as the enemies of the earth. And that was not for me. We are part of nature and from nature. Greenpeace also began to adopt positions I didn't agree with from a scientific point of view.
Well, there you go. So Greenpeace, according to the co-founder, probably co-opted the idea that humans are bad for nature. I would.
Yeah, we've seen that thematically.
Here is his view on what is really happening with our climate.
Yes, CO2 is increasing in the global atmosphere. But let's look at the last billion years of global climate change. I chose the most recent billion years. There is actually 3.5 more billion years of climate change before this. But we know pretty well that this is what has happened over the last billion. It's generally been warmer than it is today by many degrees Celsius. 22 degrees average global temperature has been the norm, but then there have been 4.5 ice ages during this period of time where temperature plummets on average down to 12 degrees, even 10 degrees Celsius global average. Today, the global average temperature is 14.5 degrees Celsius. We are in an ice age called the Pleistocene. That's why both poles are covered in ice. People don't understand that we are in an ice age now. This is an interglacial period within the Pleistocene ice age, and it is generally a cold time in terms of the Earth's history.
Yes. This is what we've always been saying.
That's what they were saying in the 70s.
Well, yes, but here he is saying it in 2014. I don't understand why they're not killing him. I can't believe that it dragged off the stage.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
Why are there 300 million people in the United States and only 30 million people in Canada? One word, cold.
Best line ever.
Sometimes I think that's why you let us have it. It seems that temperature is bounded on the top and the bottom, probably by a lot of feedback forces that are creating a maximum and minimum. And we're in one of those minimums right now.
He should stay away from small aircraft, is my suggestion.
Yeah, it shows right there, for example, that now it's 14.5 C and CO2 is about 400, whereas the average over the last 600 million years has been around 2,000, which coincidentally is the optimum CO2 level for plant growth. about 4 to 5 times higher than it is today. That's why greenhouse growers purposely put the exhaust from their gas or wood heaters into the greenhouse to increase growth by as much as 100%. So we can look forward to increasing productivity in agriculture from increased CO2, as many of you know.
That's something I didn't know.
No. The wine growers know this. And they believe there's an increase in CO2, and it's accounting for the slightly higher alcohols in the products and better crops, generally speaking.
And that the CO2 we have now in the atmosphere, that it is 4 times less than what is optimal for plants.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I didn't know that either.
And we are in an ice age. He just said.
Well, we did know that.
Yeah. Why don't you go and try that out in public? Hey, crazy idiots, we're in an ice age. Didn't you know that? Try it. See how you do.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was nice. I think it was very good of Patrick Moore to do this.
Well, he's another one of those guys they would now dismiss as an idiot.
Kook, moron.
Like the first guy who actually trained Al Gore. This is pretty well known. The guy who was Al Gore's global warming mentor.
Yes.
Before he died, he looked at the data again and says, I was wrong. This is bull crap.
Yeah, this is the guy who set up the
San Diego. I have no idea.
Yeah, we've talked about him before.
Okay.
Yeah. He set up that San Diego outfit.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But again, then Gore says, he's just senile.
Yeah.
Gore is a horrible person. He's the devil.
So along with that, came an executive order on the 19th. You always want to do these things on a Friday. Planning for federal sustainability in the next decade. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, in order to maintain federal leadership in sustainability and greenhouse gas emission reductions. This is in order to maintain federal leadership in sustainability and greenhouse gas emission reductions.
Let's go back, stop a second and go back to what that guy said about optimal requirements for agriculture being 4 or 5 times higher than it is today. And we're trying to reduce.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this is an attempt to kill off humans.
Yeah. Well,
Let's reduce it so we get less, so the plants can barely survive, and then we'll all die. Hooray.
I think what he said in the first clip, this Patrick Moore, is part of what is going on in the federal leadership in sustainability and greenhouse gas emission reductions. Is people are evil. They are the villains of the earth, and therefore they must be eliminated. And this is a good way of doing it. So the president had this very big, somewhat technical and legal executive order. But it does the typical things, about Energy Star rating and corporate. This is obviously for the federal government to play a leading role in the scam, which is great because now we have all new funding opportunities for private companies to jump into stuff like incorporating, where feasible, the consensus-based industry standard green button data access system into reporting, data analytics, and automation processes. The consensus-based industry standard green button data access system. What the?
I guess I should look this up.
This is it's energy.gov/data/green-button. Download my data. This is great. What is the green button? The Green Button Initiative is an industry-led effort that responds to a White House call to action to provide utility customers with an easy and secure access to their energy usage information in a consumer-friendly and computer-friendly format. Customers are able to securely download their own detailed energy usage with a simple click of a literal green button on electric utilities' websites. No, brother.
Okay, here you go. Go to greenbuttondata.org.
Okay.
And there's a video.
Is this something we're going to have to play?
I think you should. I'm not going to be able to do it here.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me set it up for playback through the system. I had not seen this. Hold on. What was it? GreenDataButton.org?
Greenbuttondata.org.
Green.data.org. Okay.
No dash.
No, got it. Helping you find and use your energy data. Oh, this. Okay, let's try this out. Megan Smith.
There you go.
Oh, this is our country's chief technology officer welcoming the birth of the Green Button ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen. Play. And not doing so well.
Great. Good work, website.
I'm telling you, it's just sitting there spinning around. Hold on, let me try again. That's
part of the net neutrality scam.
Well, what system are they using? Is it their own, or who are they using for this?
Well, doesn't show YouTube or anything.
No.
Yes, their own.
Yeah,
and they got 2 other people hitting it right now, so they can't stream.
All the No Agenda live stream chat room is hitting. I'm getting just a spinning circle of loading. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I did.
It started on mine. You keep waiting; it'll start.
Yeah, but it's not. It's buffering. It's sitting there. It's shit. It is just shit. I see Megan Smith there, and it's just shit, John. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. This. All right. Well, I'll let it sit there, and if it loads, great. Oh, see,
just let it go, and then it'll start playing out of the blue during the show.
Okay, good. I looked through this entire executive order. There's just a ton of stuff, but a lot of this dumb stuff, like the Green Button Initiative. Oh, this is really going to help. We're all going to be saved because of a green button on your bill, on your website bill. Then we have a lot of electric capability. Building electric energy, thermal energy shall be clean energy, as by this definition, accounted for by...
Hello, San Diego. My name is Megan Smith. I'm the U.S. CTO, and I'm sorry I can't be with you guys to scrub in on this so important topic.
To scrub in on... I want to kill myself now. I've got to scrub in. Is that a Silicon Valleyism that we're not aware of?
That I know of, but it might be. I mean, maybe a new one that we just don't, because we're not, hanging out with those idiots.
Oh, man. Scrub in. I wish I could scrub in with you. I'm going to try that the next time I'm on a date. Hey, baby, I want to scrub in with you. See what happens. I love it when I get...
This is unbelievable.
I love it when I get you to giggle.
Congratulations on coming together. Green Button is an amazing initiative.
Amazing. It's an amazing initiative. Bow down. Oh, my God. It's like Immaculate Conception. That's how amazing it is.
Industry has really collaborated brilliantly together with the support of the Department of Commerce NIST team to get this standard moving. And
the NIST team, they brought in NIST to get this standard. Now they're calling it a standard. Where's the RFC?
You guys are starting to scale on this incredibly important topic.
Starting to scale. Let's scrub in so we can start to scale.
This standard moving, and you guys are starting to scale on this incredibly important topic.
Incredibly.
I know that over 50 utilities have already signed on to Green Button, and we're seeing more than 60 million American homes having access. Really fun things are happening, like Facebook competitions and people competing with their neighbors, as well as high-end use of the data to analyze industry-wide.
Okay, so you're telling me that neighbors they're hanging out. Hey, how's your Green Button numbers? I don't know, man. I think we're beating you. The Curry family is beating the Dvorak family in the Green Button Challenge on Facebook. That's really fun. I don't believe you, Megan Smith.
I also know that system integrators and great vendors have signed on.
Dude's name Ben.
This across the U.S. and into Canada. So just a thank you to all of you for gathering there together, and a thank you to, of course, Department of Energy and the Department of Commerce NIST team who are hosting. In the U.S. CTO team, we have an instigation job. Our job is to advise the president and his team on how to harness the power of technology.
Instigation job.
Is that what she said?
Did she say instigation job?
I was blown away by it. She has a team. And listen.
In the U.S. CTO team, we have an instigation job. Our job...
instigation job.
What's an instigation job?
I don't know. There's only one thing we can do with this, obviously.
Consult the book of knowledge.
I'm going to look up the full term, instigation job. But I do not see...
throwing out one cliche buzzword phrase, something.
John, let's scrub in.
It's a Washington D.C. term.
I think, really scrub in? I don't know.
Yeah, the bureaucrats around the White House say.
That does, but yeah, let me just see. Scrub in. I'm looking it up now. Scrub in. Oh, it's a Grey's Anatomy reference. Okay. Something they say.
It's a medical reference.
According to the Urban Dictionary, scrub in is something they say about 500 times an episode on Grey's Anatomy. It means before you get ready to do surgery, scrub in. Well, that's how important she thinks she is. That's okay with me.
Is to advise the president and his team on how to harness the power of technology, data, and innovation on behalf of the nation.
Because it's wild, this technology power. You have to harness it. You got to throw a bridle on it because it's just so wild. You can't use it without Megan's team.
And we do that by trying to bring together amazing talent like all of you and get standards moving, et cetera. We really focus in 3 areas. Technology policy, of which there's a lot of things here in this topic. We focus on digital government and open government and releasing data and getting, enthusiasm of the American innovators and innovators around the world.
I'm enthused.
Lots of words.
Are you enthused? I'm enthused about the release of data.
Get standards moving, et cetera.
Release the data. Did she say get standards moving, et cetera?
Yeah.
No. This woman.
Yeah.
Really?
It wasn't
Focus
like
on
blah,
digital
blah, blah,
government
blah,
and
blah,
open
et cetera.
government.
It's get standards moving, et cetera.
And releasing data and getting, enthusiasm of the American innovators and innovators around the world.
I didn't hear her say that, man. Let me go back up.
Focus on digital government and open government and releasing data and getting, enthusiasm of the American innovators and innovators around the world to do what they will with this extraordinary asset that the American public has funded.
What asset? What asset?
Third area we call Innovation Nation.
Innovation Nation. Hey, made a rhyme. It's a slogan. Trademark it.
How do you get more of the American people included in the innovation economy and the kind of high-paying
innovation economy?
Yes, this is brand new. It's the John.
What does that even mean?
I'm going to scrub in on the innovation economy. Hold on a second.
You should, et cetera.
Included in the innovation economy and the kind of high-paying, better jobs that people can be a part of those communities. So
it's a community. I don't be a part of the community. It's so fun to make fun of these people.
Is she having a conversation yet?
Oh, I hope we do.
Kind of high-paying, better jobs that people can be a part of those communities.
Yes. I would like to be a part of the better job, higher pay community, please, Miss Smith. Could you put me in that community? Can I get on that through a G+?
So, I know there's some contests going up. I know that I think more than 500 groups participated last year, innovators from across the U.S., in the Datapalooza that the Department of Energy hosted, and I think there's another one coming up.
Datapalooza? What did she say? I didn't get that.
Hold on. Yeah, they've done the Datapalooza. They've done several times.
She didn't really?
Yeah, this goes back to Vivek Skip Logic Kundra. Datapalooza. Oh yeah,
I missed that.
No, we discussed it quite. Yeah, in fact,
I probably blanked it out because it's so stupid.
Let me see, Datapalooza. I'm going to search.nashownotes.com. Episode 560, which was
10 years ago,
2013.
Yeah.
This is the Datapalooza. That was Todd Park, who, of course, was running the show back then. A data-powered revolution in healthcare. Oh, yeah, that was what it was. Datapalooza for healthcare data. I remember. This sounds like a promising new career. I should alert Nurse Tracy. She can be in the Datapalooza and find a new job.
In the Datapalooza that the Department of Energy hosted, and I think there's another one coming up. There's a bunch of contests launching, et cetera. So I really, I originally became a mechanical engineer.
Stop again. I hate to deconstruct this to such an extreme that it's getting annoying to the listeners, but you have to back up again to the Datapalooza part because she said something, contest launching or...
Yeah, let's listen again. Sure thing.
Last year, innovators from across the U.S. In the Datapalooza that the Department of Energy hosted, and I think there's another one coming up.
That was Department of Energy.
That's a different one.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of contests launching, et cetera. So I really...
Contest launching,
what was that word after that? After she said launching, what was that word?
The Department of Energy hosted, and I think there's another one coming up. There's a bunch of contests launching, et cetera. So I really...
Et cetera.
Et cetera.
Yeah, et cetera.
Contest launching,
et cetera. Yeah.
She says et cetera all the time. It's hard to hear it.
Yeah, she actually I think she even says etc. I think. Let me see.
Palooza that Department of Energy hosted, and I think there's another one coming up. There's a bunch of contests launching, etc. So
she said etc.
Yeah, etc.
Etc. Etiquetera. Etc. We should be using this all the time as we scrub in for the Datapalooza, etc.
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 Really, I originally became a mechanical engineer because of the early energy crisis work and being a kid during Carter and doing every science fair project I could in Buffalo, New York. Can you imagine doing solar in Buffalo, New York? But those are my projects. And, Department of Energy.
Hey, Megan, if you're going to do an anecdote, better do a little better on that. That wasn't it. What was the joke there?
Well, that was a crap anecdote.
Yeah. I mean,
what she said unknowingly was that solar energy doesn't work.
Yeah, imagine trying before people in Buffalo. All this stuff will not work for you, etc.
And since we're giving up on oil, you're screwed.
The early energy crisis work and being a kid during Carter and doing every science fair project I could in Buffalo, New York. Can you imagine doing solar in Buffalo, New York?
Let's see his solar projects in Buffalo, New York. Let's just take a look and see who's going to be pissed off at her. Solar energy, Buffalo, New York. Let's see what's big up there. Solar Liberty, solar panels, New York Home Solar Power, Buffalo. Seems like, state pledges $750 million for Buffalo solar plant. Well, Megan, you should call them right away and tell them that it's a waste of money. Solar City investing $5 billion in Buffalo, New York. Well, Megan, this is an outrage. This is wasted cash. Wasted cash. She should get on the stick about this. Makes no sense.
But those are my projects.
With her experience.
And, Department of Energy and the work of this great nation have always been inspiring to me from the time I was really young, and the work of the energy innovation community. So I really salute you guys.
The energy innovation community. I wonder if Elon Musk is in that.
To me from the time I was really young, and the work of the energy innovation community. So I really salute you guys for coming together. It's such an important topic, and have a wonderful conference.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Megan. I think slow clap is more what she deserves for this. Slow clap. There you go.
Or how about the little the New Year's Eve horn? I think would be working well with that.
Yes, we should have ended it that way. I agree. All right. Thank you very much. Megan Smith there, our Chief Technology Officer of the United States of America. Scrubbing in, everybody. Scrubbing in. Very nice. Very, very nice. Good work on scrubbing in. So there's this executive order, and they were talking about ensure that at a minimum, the following percentage of the total amount of building electric energy and thermal energy shall be clean energy, accounted for by renewable electric energy and alternative energy. By 2016, 2017, not less than 10%, 18 to 19, 13%, and ultimately by the year 2025, 25% should be clean electric energy. And, I was just looking through this order. It was nice to see that at least we had these two little points. Installing fuel cell energy systems on site at federal facilities, whatever that is. Is there any fuel cell energy system that works except that bogus thing that John Doerr and Kleiner Perkins invested in? Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They showed it on 60 Minutes.
Right. Right. And it was really
there's a few of them installed around the Google campus.
Yeah, pretty bogative.
Fuel cells are. I mean, they do work. I mean, the hydrogen fuel cell works. These things work.
Yeah.
They're just expensive to make, and they're actually very old technology.
Yeah.
None of this, is very rare. The only thing, even the wind power is an old technology. The only reason it works better than before is that they just make bigger turbines.
Yeah.
You make a big giant thing instead of the little bitty ones that they used to have.
The giant ones that ruin your view, ruin your hearing.
They ruin your view. They chop up birds, and they make
and they're too expensive. They don't actually
and they're very
pay back.
expensive, and they fall over, and they make a funny sound that drives everybody in the area crazy.
Anyway, here it is, utilizing energy from new small modular nuclear reactor technologies.
Oh, well, they should go with that. I think that's the way to go. Why don't they do that?
Well, they're going to. It's in here.
Oh, that's a fuel cell?
No, that's so the fuel cell comes before the small modular nuclear reactor technologies. And it remains to be seen what they're really going to make available budget-wise. Under that, we have utilizing energy from a new project that includes the active so they already know what it is. utilizing energy from a new project that includes the active capture and storage of carbon dioxide emissions. How about plant some trees? Aren't they excellent storers of carbon dioxide?
Yeah, and they give us useful oxygen.
Oh, no, they'll be
I guess they don't want that because too many humans will live.
We don't want useful things like oxygen. No, this will be no good. But a lot of it's about Energy Star rating. So this is really more about manufacturing stuff that that looks pretty and adheres to some kind of standard.
It makes you feel better.
It makes you feel good. Yeah, you scrub in and you feel better.
I scrubbed in. I feel better now. I feel better.
I feel a little dirty from scrubbing in, quite honestly. What else did I have? I had something else in the Agenda 21. No, that's actually it. That was good. We should keep our eye on what Megan Smith is doing with her little speeches. She sucks. It's kind of funny to listen to her.
She needs a coach.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Get rid of the cliches, lady.
I bet you they think she walks on water there.
Well, because she can use a screwdriver.
And she's rich.
Well, she is rich.
So but I was looking today and looking to see what exactly was... what if we had any proclamations? The president did not proclaim Certified Registered Nurse Day, and there was no mention, although it was yesterday, of World Down Syndrome Day.
Well, it makes some sense that they wouldn't recognize the nurses because they save lives, and he obviously wants to kill all humans.
Yes, so let's not thank them. Let's not recognize them. But how about World Down Syndrome Day? That's a pretty well established thing.
Yeah.
How come we don't celebrate that?
I don't know. It seems like something to do.
He's going to look out of step.
There's a whole Down syndrome band in Iceland.
Finland.
And I believe Jack Lew suffers from Down syndrome.
It's Finland, and they won the national contest and will be in the finals for the Eurovision Song Contest. And I predict they will win.
Yeah, I know you did predict that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. This is why the president is making a mistake.
Yeah, I know. He should have got on board with this.
Etc.
Etc.
Yeah, it would have been easy. It wouldn't have cost anything. There's nothing else. There's no other proclamation, so he could have easily done it. I don't know.
Well, it's an oversight, especially if the band wins, and it's a good band. At least they play some hot rock. They play metal.
They play punk. Punk. Is it whatever? I think they think it's punk. I'm not quite sure. It's punk, etc. is what it is.
Well, they're good. They're better than I am.
Yes.
Well, I can play the tambourine. I will get the harmonica down. I finally got some reference books to read.
Okay. Oh, really? So you're gonna do a song? Nice.
No, I got nothing else to do. Let's face it.
A song. Okay. Let's see. Where were?
I got a little segue here.
Okay.
Now, I've always been fascinated by and I didn't realize the Kurds were so into the sound, but I would like to get some recordings, especially if you can get a small choir of women somewhere that can make this sound. This is a very short clip. This is that Arab screaming that women do.
Like that?
Yeah, when they're singing it. This is just in the background. This clip has got nothing to do with anything we're going to talk about, but I just want to play it, and this is a very good version of it. I'm sorry. It's called
I got it.
Mid-Eastern Scream.
I got it.
Traditional dances, colourful clothing, and deafening music. The celebrations of Nivros are in full swing in Diyarbakir, the largest Kurdish majority city in Turkey.
You missed it.
I heard it.
It was at the beginning.
I heard the scream.
Isn't it pretty good, that one?
Listen.
Traditional dances, colourful clothing, and deafening music. The celebrations of Nivros.
What do you mean? I'm not understanding what you're asking me.
Isn't that a good version of that sound?
Well, no, I think we could find one without the voiceover and without the shitty
I just
background.
Heard this and I said that was the last second. I'm doing the clips in the morning. I'm saying, wow, there's that screaming woman. Can we get somebody to do that well?
Oh, I see what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Fletcher can do it.
Well, you don't underestimate the Fletcher.
And I think only women do it. I don't think it's proper for a man to make that sound.
Right.
So I'm not going to even invite Fletcher to try.
And I would.
You did a pretty good job a second ago, though, but it's still not up to par.
I would like to request that people who think they can do this as well not email me clips, because you can't. It's just not the same. It's we have Fletcher is our guy. He's got the he nails it time and time again. In fact, he did another one for us today, which I wanted to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to Rumble-ize!
Yeah, I got that one too.
I think it's good.
It's something. I think he's either got polyps.
If he doesn't have them, he will.
He will shortly. It's like,
oh man, that's too funny.
Nobody else. That's the best I've ever heard of this type of voice. Even though we're not getting a big uptake on people taking advantage of, we do have one coming in. Somebody sent me an email.
Well, let's talk about that as I thank you very much for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for conjugal visits, Dvorak.
Actually, yes, or coincidence. I'm
in the morning, yes. In the morning.
In the morning to you, Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water. And all the dames and knights out there. I think that's my list.
That's good. In the morning, everyone there in the chat room, noagendastream.com. Good to see you all depleting your $9.2 million value. And depleting quickly because, obviously you're just, you're useless.
Deflationary spiral.
Yeah. You are useless, my friends. In the morning to our artists, thank you very much to Pookie. Pookie brought us the album art for episode 706, which was, what did we have there, John?
We can't remember from show to show what we're doing.
It's because we're very busy. Lying Weasels was the title. Yes, Lying Weasels. And the art was, the Common Core bird songs, the Dvorak guy.
It was kind of it was an overview. Yeah. We thought it was just, even though we did the bird song the show before, I believed it was funny enough.
Yeah. And I was all in on it. All in.
Yeah, you were all in.
All right, so this is where we thank our executive producers and associate executive producers because just like Hollywood, they actually are financing the episode. We thank everyone else over $50 later on in the program. These credits are real. They're valid wherever credits are accepted. And, of course, we will vouch for these producers of ours.
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring, weighing 333 pounds, he's the Grand Duke of Gitmo, USA, Sir David Foley!
I can assure you that Foley does not weigh 333 pounds.
No.
Anyway, he came in with $451.50. The requested coincidence, John C. coincidence, for the Easter show coming up on April 5th. I mentioned this in the newsletter. Everyone else should kind of know this.
Yes, you did, actually.
I have a birthday on Easter. And this hasn't happened since 1953 because Easter is screwy. Now, I got a bunch of notes I may read, probably read them on Easter, telling me how this is calculated, how you calculate Easter. You do the bad moon rising.
Really?
How many you subtract how many comets go through the atmosphere that year, and then you have to add some fudge factors, and it's crazy.
Huh.
And the equinox is involved, and it's the first Sunday of after the equinox or some craziness. And I had a number of explanations for this, and it just seems nuts. And so I put a chart in the newsletter showing all the days, because it can happen anywhere between March 22nd, which would be, I guess, March 22nd to April something. And so I always thought that you could, I'd get it every 7 years or so, but no, I get 2 in my lifetime. So I made a $45.15 donation thing that you could do. Well, Foley upped the ante with $451.50, and he says, "ITM folks, please enclose find a special 10x happy birthday JCD donation. Hopefully, this will help with the full with the lull. We have a lull going on, ladies and gentlemen.
A little bit of a lull.
Welcome back, Adam. Please send some of that wonderful No Agenda karma that continues to work its magic.
Absolutely. Anything for the Grand Duke.
You've got karma.
Willkommen and bienvenue.
Now, out of San Francisco is Ron Pepper, who did come in with the Foley donation, which is $314.15. Not Foley donation, I'm sorry, the Fletcher donation. I haven't donated in a couple of years now, and like so many, I've been intending to do so. Please stop intending and please do so. But he like Ron did. But I was pushed by the offer from John Fletcher, if I recall his name, right, to scream my name.
Okay.
Clip, I would like to just my last name, Pepper, which should fit well based on his other great work. If Mr. Fletcher is feeling generous, perhaps as the price for being first, if it's true, and he is, may I also get a Rebecca as well. Last time I donated, I asked for human resource karma. Let me add to the many satisfied No Agenda karma recipients and tell you that it works. We now have the healthiest, happiest, strongest future night that we could ask for. So this time I'd like to ask for some jobs karma for my photography business, PanoramaNetwork.com. PanoramaNetwork.com. Shameless plug, he says.
You know what's cool about this Fletcher Fest that we're doing, where if you donate the Fletcher Fest amount, then you're going to get a Fletcher shout. It's pretty much the digital, it's like the podcast version of those mini license plates in the gift shop. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, there's an Adam. Yay. Yeah,
what a great analogy.
Yeah, I can buy that.
Oh, Dad, why did you name me this crazy name?
Now you'll have to pay extra to have one made for me.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Yeah. All righty. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, that's what it is. That is the analogy.
Now 314.15 comes in from Tim Anonymous.
Hello, Tim.
Tim Anonymous, parts unknown. And he sends these checks in. This is, by the way, if you're really fearful and crazy about being anonymous with higher donations.
And not all in like me with my iPhone.
Where we don't have, nothing worse than, and Ron Pepper sends in 314, and then you start reading the notes, says, please keep me anonymous. This is very embarrassing to us.
Yeah.
So mail a check, and then he puts a big stick-em note right on the front of the check that says Tim Anonymous.
Yeah, very good.
And he's never going to get his name mentioned, and I'm not even going to mention his city and state, wherever it is. Anyway, he's got no note. He never sends a note. So, but thanks, Tim. Tim Anonymous.
But I guess he'll get a Tim.
I don't even think his name's Tim, which makes it weird.
But he will get a Tim Anonymous Fletcher shout.
I guess if he wants
Tim
one.
Tim Anonymous! Yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah.
You're going to hurt yourself. Don't do that. Eric Finkenbeiner in Seattle, Washington, comes in as associate executive producer, $250. With this donation, I now become a knight. Please knight me as Sir Finky of the Techno Experts.
Mm-hmm.
I would love some bad science and perky breasts. Write that down. Additionally, I'll be sending each of you some newly designed challenge coins from my current location, if you would like. Of course we would.
Yeah.
We both have a pile of challenge coins that will go into eventually be sold by Sotheby's.
Yes, it will be. Bad Science and Perky Breast is already on the list. I just moved it up to the top today.
Oh, is it? Oh, he just wants that. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
onward. Jonathan Showman, the showman from Tulsa, Oklahoma, $208. Been listening for about 2 years now. The show is an outstanding product, which has been the antidote to help me get through some very hard times. In spite of my poor college student status, I can't stand to douchebag any longer. I need to purchase some long overdue moral self-licensing. I request to be de-douched and receive some getting laid karma to test the efficacy therein. All for science, of course.
Obviously.
Yes, shout out to all the Okies who helped produce the show.
You've been de-douched. You've got karma.
And finally, Sir Barry Kroger in Greeley, Colorado, 200. Kroger here, ITM. Thank you for all the work you guys do. A shot of karma for the family, please.
Absolutely.
You've got karma.
That concludes
That's
our little
right?
associate executive producership segment. We want to remind people we have a show coming up on Thursday. Last Thursday was pretty odd because the contributions were quite low.
Strangely, a lot of people liked that show. I got a lot of feedback.
The show was good. I thought that last show was outstanding.
Yeah.
I do say so myself, even though I only had half to do with it.
I think you did more than usual. I got a lot of comments on that. And I
don't know.
Here's my secret. Here's what I've learned. I shouldn't tell you, really.
No, tell me. We all want to know.
Well, we have, from time to time, said that when I travel, it's kind of good for the show because there's new input. Now, we didn't have a lot of European input this particular show, although there was some local color. But I believe what really happens and why the show gets better when I travel is you think, oh, man, he's traveling, he's doing stuff. I'll step up. I'll do a little more. So in reality, when I travel,
exactly,
you actually step up your game.
Yeah, well, you never know. You might come in with nothing.
Like today. Yeah, you never know. Please help us out for our Thursday show, and thank you to our executive producers and associate executive producers. As I said, the credits are real, and unlike the phonies in Hollywood, we will gladly vouch for you.
Dvorak.org/NA. Of course, everybody can always participate in helping out the program by going out there and propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
I have an update.
It's the weekly Hooker Report.
That's right, everybody. The weekly Hooker Report. As you know, when times are bad, the hookers get better looking and there's more of them at cheaper prices. This is Dvorak's Law, one of many. We discussed on Thursday the sex trafficking laws, or human trafficking laws in Washington that will never, ever make it. And our analysis of that is because, hey, they like banging hookers. Correct?
Right. This is an analysis you'll never hear anywhere except on this show.
And what popped up is a law from North Carolina. And it's almost as if it was planned. Sexual acts between lobbyists and a state official covered by North Carolina State's Ethics Act do not constitute a reportable expenditure, as in things of value, according to a ruling by the State Ethics Commission.
Some guy's trying to write off his tryst with a hooker.
Well, it's if a lobbyist gives you a hooker, then you don't have to report it. Because it has no value.
Right. So in other words, I'm like, I got some. I'm a guy who's a congressman.
Yes. Yeah. Let's just pick a random name. I don't know. Who do we hate? All right, you're a congressman.
Graham. I'm Lindsey Graham.
You're Lindsey Graham. All right.
And of course, then I refuse the hooker. My theoretical conclusion.
But Lindsey Graham, we know he's like, oh, hookers. Yeah, okay. And it's probably
seems a little.
It's probably a transsexual.
But that's whoever it is. The lobbyist says, "Hey, Bill, I got an idea. Roxy, go out and have a good time, you two.
Close the deal."
So they go out and then they bangs the hooker, and he doesn't have to write it off his taxes. He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to report
like $1,000 or whatever this hooker's worth.
He does not have to report it.
Report it to the IRS. He doesn't have to do that.
It's not even the IRS. He has to report it as a gift from a lobbyist. That is what he
have to report it as a gift.
No.
So that just whoa.
There you go.
So in other words, where the lobbyist can't give him that trip to Bermuda anymore, he can send him 5 girls.
Or a mix, a couple guys, couple girls, a couple transsexuals in there. Could
or
be
whatever the guy wants. Hey, it's up to you. What do you want? We got a pretty good stable here.
Here's a menu.
Wow.
Yeah, consensual sexual relationships do not have monetary value and therefore are not reportable as gifts or reportable expenditure made for lobbying. So the lobbyists don't have to report it, and the receiving senator, congressman, etc., does not have to report it either.
So nobody's reporting nothing.
Lobbyist or lobbyist.
Nobody's reporting nothing. Get it?
You know
what I'm saying?
But what's interesting is that this says making love has no value.
Well, in the case of,
lobbyists are required to report anything worth more than $10 per day they give to a person covered by the State Ethics Act or a family member. So
go back to the Depression hooker $5.
You're
1933.
Your pussy has no cash value. I'm sorry. What?
1933. They weren't going for that much. So it's less than $10, less than $10 in old money.
Okay, and that's why it's still there.
All I know is this just proves our point.
That's why I updated the weekly hooker report.
Yeah, it's very good. I think that's a catch.
There you go.
It's the weekly hooker report.
The show's on a roll.
Amen. Fist bump.
There you go.
The show is on a roll.
Yeah, it is now.
Here's a good story. This came on Democracy Now! She, of course, doesn't pay any attention to reading her own. Okay, just tell me what's wrong with this stupid story. Napolitano, of course, runs the University of California now because they need government, someone's in deep with the government because, they're producing all these CIA spies and,
Now, let's back it up just a little bit. Janet Napolitano, who we lovingly referred to as Lucy, was the director of the Department of Homeland Security, was embroiled in all kinds of sexual harassment lawsuits. The entire upper echelon were really sexually harassing men.
Yeah.
Putting their desk in the bathroom.
Cover up most of it.
And saying, really sexual innuendo.
Yeah, the place was loaded with angry lesbians.
Very angry
man
lesbians.
Haters.
Yes, that kind, yes. And not the lipstick lesbians we all like to see in porn. No, not at all. And so she left and she became the regent or what do they call it? What's her official title?
No, she's the president.
CEO.
She runs the place.
She runs the California
University of California system. All the schools.
Which has billions and billions of dollars in cash.
Billions of dollars. They gave Obama $1 million as a campaign contribution. This is before she got there, though. I mean, it would have happened anyway.
Now, at issue is the University of California system wants to raise tuition fees 5% every year for the next 5 years.
Yeah, and they've been raising it more than that for the last 5 years. They keep raising it because if anyone wants to come out here, go to Berkeley, drive around. It's all new architecture. The whole college, you can't even recognize it as the old University of California. They just build and build and build, and then they whine and whine and whine. So she had a big meeting, and there was a bunch of students coming up at the meeting bitching. And so she was overheard.
Well, and I want to say not just bitching, they literally had clothes. They were taking their clothes off, and they had they were scantily clad underneath and had things like slave, debt slave, because this is what it is. You're being forced into slavery for your college degree, which of course you will be a total loser in life if you don't have
for the scam.
If you don't fall for the scam, you're never going to amount to anything. You just be a man with a selfie stick on the corner.
It's just there's an image. Hey, I am here.
I got a selfie stick. Yeah.
Well,
all right. So they're pissed. They're pissed off.
Here's a misreporting way. She leans over to one of the other regents of the system.
Yeah.
And they're bitching. These kids, you're right, they're stripping. It's making a mess.
Yeah.
And so she leans over to the guy and says, "Let's get out of here.
Let's take a break.
We don't have to listen to this crap."
Right.
And that was there was a clip of it. It's hard to hear, but that's what she says. But this is a misreporting done by Democracy Now! On Napolitano, and I think it's pretty funny.
University of California President and former Secretary of Homeland Security Janet Napolitano has apologized for referring to student protesters as crap. As students disrupted Wednesday's UC Regents meeting to protest tuition hikes, Napolitano was caught on an open mic saying, "Let's go, we don't have to listen to this crap." She later apologized for, quote, using a word I don't usually use.
Yeah, usually it's scum knuckle.
She probly cusses like a truck driver. Let's face it. But here's the funny thing. Now, what is Amy's problem here? Napolitano, by any stretch of the imagination did not call the students crap. She called the display of
I can tell you what happened.
Commentaries crap.
Yeah, I can tell you what
we don't
happened.
have to listen to this crap doesn't mean we don't have to listen to these students.
That's
not what it means.
This is a typical case. Amy did not watch any video, didn't listen to any audio of what happened. There's some producer, and just this is what happens
from the prompter.
Yes, he's just reading. I have this clip a little differently if you want to listen with a little more background.
As long as it makes fun of Napolitano, who apparently never uses the word crap. I don't know where
let me just see.
Things got so heated at a UC Regents meeting today, students started taking off their clothes in protest.
This is the part that piqued my interest.
Night Beat's Mark Kelly.
Because we're seeing, and I think I called the tipping point 2 shows ago, we're seeing people having enough. We're seeing students starting to really walk out, protest, and taking your clothes off is an outstanding form of protest. I'm all for it.
Tells us tonight the UC president's reaction has students even more fired up. Mark?
Well, Veronica, President Janet Napolitano's mic was hot during the meeting, and she made it clear what she thinks of these protesters. As the protests began, the camera stayed on the Regents. There was some confusion over what to do. UC President Janet Napolitano leans over to a colleague and says, quote, "Let's just break. Let's go. Let's go. We don't have to listen to this crap. Hear it for yourself."
Just break. What? Let's go.
What?
Let's go. We don't have to listen to this.
Christian Kim was one of the students protesting 5% tuition increases every year for 5 years.
An insult to have her as the president of the UC.
To make their point loud and clear, protesters, including Kim, stripped down to their underwear, revealing the words student debt written on their bodies.
I love this. This was a hot little chickie. And this is good. This gets attention. Nakedness. This is something Americans can't process properly. Naked bodies. What?
She called what you were doing crap.
I don't know where she's coming from, honestly, but I'm assuming she's never had to deal with these issues personally. So I can understand where there would be a disconnect there.
Yeah, she's an elite. Of course not.
Yeah.
Elite. Yeah, exactly.
What else would she be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's nothing like the students in India. Is a segue.
Students in India?
Yeah, apparently the Indian students in India, and they showed movies of this. They have to take all these exams because they're under a lot of pressure to get into the better colleges.
To get into Silicon Valley, to get the hell out of India.
Get over here.
To get out of India.
And they are under so much pressure that they cheat to such an extreme. It's ridiculous. And so they show the side of this building where there are all these students taking the test, and kids are crawling up like spiders up the side of the building. All kind of, like, we're not talking about a couple of kids, like 50. And they're going in there and they're tossing answers and doing stuff. They're throwing. I don't even know why they just don't go in the room there, but they're tossing answers and to the kids. They roll up a piece of paper. Here is the answer to question 6.
Really?
But let's play these 2 clips because this is like you have to wonder, and I hate to call out the Indians again, but about some of their ideas of what's the right way to go. But anyway,
in India, a scandal has erupted over cheating on crucial high school exams. Authorities said today more than 1,000 10th graders have been expelled this week. The issue exploded into view with video of dozens of people scaling the walls of a testing center in Bihar state. They could be seen passing or even throwing answers to students through open windows. But the state education minister said it's hard to stop.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
Well, here, play the second part, and you hear the numbers involved. And then bull crap excuse.
He said today more than 1,000 10th graders have been expelled this week. The issue exploded into view with video of dozens of people scaling the walls of a testing center in Bihar state. They could be seen passing or even throwing answers to students through open windows. But the state education minister said it's hard to stop.
There are more than 1.4 million students sitting for exams. 3 to 4 people helping a single student would mean that there are a total of 6 to 7 million people helping students cheat. Is it the responsibility of the government alone to manage such a huge number of people and to conduct a 100% free and fair examination?
Reports of cheating have increased since the government began offering cash to poor students who perform well. They have to pass the exams to continue their education.
Now, here's the difference between a country like the United States and I don't know if I say most of the world, but a lot of the world. India, for sure. We don't have the kind of rigid class structure, and the Indians have one of the worst. Because people here can, you can always go to school late. You can go to night school. You can always get a degree if you actually want to get a degree. And you can begin at any point in your life. There's none of these, these ridiculous barriers. You can go to junior college. You can get the, AA degree and then transfer without taking a bunch of tests to get into some university necessarily. And you can always, and I know a lot of people that just, they don't follow this rigid pattern. You can go become homeschooled effortlessly. In fact, most of the Indians, when they come over here, are homeschoolers.
Right. Or you can just drop out and become a podcaster.
Yes. I just think it's just like you put all this pressure and create these bogus bureaucratic systems, and you end up with this horrible state of affairs, which is India's. And by the way, this building these kids were taking this test in, it looked like it was rubble. It was just junk.
Good.
Anyway, little aside.
Get them used to the future.
The Indians are cheap and they never donate to the show.
I'm hearing. I think it was you a while back. I don't know if it was related. When President Obama went to India, you said you thought something might happen. I think India is ready for something to happen again, no matter what. Kind of like Mumbai. I'm not quite sure why. Just the number of articles I'm seeing, things going down. It's like feels like something else big is going to happen.
It's possibly that we're being set up.
Could be by
the media. Just to accept something happen.
Oh, okay, right. That's possible.
Because India, we don't like. Obama actually doesn't like this guy, the guy who runs India now,
and the new guy,
Modi.
Modi.
And so he doesn't like him, and Modi's something of a creep. He's very pro Brahmin business, He's a creepy guy by all accounts. And then we get a lot of stories about the raping in India. It's like everyone's raping everybody all the time. Yeah. And there was a report recently on PBS saying of the 20. This is a good one. I didn't use it when we were doing this story. Of the 20 trading partners, the G20, of that group of people, the women that were treated the worst and were in the worst shape and in the worst country. Or the number last in the list of how women are treated and how they're dealt with in the various, the United States, Great Britain, France, and all these places. Right at the bottom is India. Above them is Saudi Arabia.
Huh.
And they made a big stink about this because there's been a woman wrote a book about Indian raping. This is like about rape. And she's a British woman, and the book got banned. She got thrown out. The book about the Hindus by this other female author, very famous historian. We talked about that book before, called The Hindus. That book is banned from India. I mean, there is a lot of stuff going on that is setting us up for the rubblization of India. And we've also discussed the possibility, and it was only mentioned in one report once, the possibility of Ebola getting into India.
Yes.
Very disastrous.
Yes. That would be perfect for them, wouldn't it?
So India may be targeted, for all we know, because we're getting these kinds of stories. And
okay. Well, something to keep our eye on.
Things, I guess.
Speaking of agreements, I have not seen this. In fact, I only have a German, what is this? Süddeutsche.de. The German economy minister, Sigmar Gabriel, is making a lot of noise about the TTIP. This is a big deal for the United States. This is one of President Obama's big legacy issues, is the TTIP, which is the trade agreement between the U.S. and Europe. And he's saying, no, I really don't think we want to do this. We don't think this is a good idea, and he's pushing back. I think this adds to already a lot of tension we have between the U.S. and Deutschland.
Yeah, there's another thing that seems to be building up slowly. But we noticed this a couple of years ago when we first started seeing the commentary about how these ISIL types they can just waltz into Europe.
Right.
Once they get in there, then they can go to Hamburg or someplace in Germany and then go right to the United States and kill us all.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always going through, there's always some route through Germany. And there's still in the subconscious mind of the American public, the cells, the Hamburg Al-Qaeda cells, it's in Germany.
What's interesting that's BND, which is the German intelligence service, who I've heard from our sources that the BND, those guys are badass. They're really, really good at their intelligence. Certainly human intelligence. I'm not so sure about their signals intelligence, but they're building a brand new headquarters, which I believe costs almost €1 billion. You think people get pissed off about that? So things keep happening to this. Now there is some sabotage took place and water damage to the entire construction site, and I got to think we're messing with these guys. I think we're really trying to send some messages, and they're not really getting it.
Well, the Russians on RT have been going on and on about how, which I think is a red herring, about how the Germans want to, and of course there's RT, which is propaganda of some sort. You can never fully identify.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
The Germans always has been wanting to get into the Five Eyes. And, of course, the Five Eyes are the English-speaking countries that share intelligence.
Yeah, it's U.S., it's England or U.K., it is New Zealand, Australia, and who's the fifth?
Canada.
Canada, of course.
And it makes no sense that they'd be in Five Eyes at all. But they supposedly, according to RT, according to the Russians, they want to get in. They feel insulted. And so they may cut us off from their information. That's bullcrap. Whatever the case. There's a lot of this kind of antagonistic story. These antagonistic storylines seem to be dropped in the media, which are targeting Germany. And then, of course, the other one I mentioned this minute ago is that India seems to be targeted.
Right now, there's a number of military exercises that are ongoing that we are doing. United States, of course, NATO, but the United States is leading it. And we're doing this in these states that are kind of close to Russia, like 100 miles from the Russian border, and it's not really a nice thing to do, particularly if Russia has some military training in their own country, and then we all go apeshit about it.
Right, and we have the clip, or at least partial clip here of that woman from RT. Who's the kind of the
she's the cute one with the dark curly hair, and she's all slick back. Cute. Yeah, this is very nice.
And she was on the new State Department spokesman, whose name eludes me.
He's a loser.
Oh, this guy's terrible. I got a clip later.
Yeah, he's going to fold. He's going to fold. This is not going to turn out well.
No, this guy's no good. And he or she goes off after him about this particular issue, and then he's lame with his answers.
I'm not sure.
This girl, by the way, I like her. She's hot.
I think she's I think she's a good reporter.
She's talented, too. But she's got the combo, man. She's got the combo. Sure. Especially with that Russian accent.
What you're referring to.
When the U.S. is carrying out exercises thousands of miles away from home, near Russian borders, and that's fine. Russia does that at home, and that's not fine.
You are twisting how we've described Russian exercise activity, and I think our activity on the territory of NATO member states has a degree of transparency that is hard to criticize.
I want to go back to my question. Maybe you have not, but your colleagues from this podium have criticized Russia for carrying out exercises near its western borders because they raise tensions. Why is it that U.S. exercises do not raise tensions?
Well, again, I would ask you to go back and check the transcripts of what we've said. We have not issued such.
The only thing that bothers me about this type of journalism, it's very similar to. I see this a lot. In fact, Brian the Gay Crusader does this sometimes, and I say it really makes no sense to do that by saying, well, if you really look at the record, Saudi Arabia beheads more people a month than ISIS has done in total. And whenever you're comparing, or like there are more senseless acts of violence, as if any act of violence would make sense, against LGBTQIAP community members in America, in these states, than Russia. But no one gives a shit. So what she's doing is cute for RT, but journalistically, it really doesn't do anything.
Such blanket statements.
We did check the transcripts, and here's an example of such a statement.
We are deeply concerned by Russia's plan to conduct a large military aviation exercise this week in areas bordering Ukraine. Exercises of this kind are provocative and only serve to escalate tensions.
Just to clarify, in that statement, the State Department spokesperson was talking about exercises that Russia carried out inside of Russia. So the State Department spokesperson today tried to deny that there is an inconsistency between how the U.S. presents its own actions and how it assesses Russia's moves. But there are transcripts, there are recorded statements from the past which speak to the contrary.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
Exactly. I wanted to clip this, and I didn't because I thought, well, actually, I didn't because I found this clip. This is Brian Becker of the Answer Coalition.
And by the way, this is Jeff Rathke is the guy. That's the new spokesman.
Okay. Yes. The Answer
I had that clip too, this Answer guy. I didn't clip that because
interesting.
I refuse to clip anything from these guys because Answer A.N.S.W.E.R. are a bunch of communists from the World's Workers' Party out of New York City. They're complete bullshit artists.
Yeah, and I looked them up. The way you do this, if you look at answercoalition.org, you click on donate, and then you see, this is the Progress Unity Fund, who say donations to PUF, P-U-F, whatever that is, /Answer Coalition are processed by our fiscal sponsor, the Progress Unity Fund. And I looked it up, John, and they do like $250,000 a year. Most of the money is kept in. They're not really spending. No one makes. There's no salaries. Well, so they may be communists.
No,
they're not. But they're not stealing money. Okay,
I'm going to stop you there because that organization, if you really start to look into it, is like an octopus. There are hundreds of little spin-offs, and that if you take the accumulative amounts of money that are here and there and parked all over the place is huge. I don't believe that it's $250,000.
The Progress Unity Fund really has...
that fund itself, maybe. But when you start digging into this operation, the Answer Coalition, which comes out of the World's Workers' Party, and go and look at the World's Workers' Party and look at what they're hooked up to, that's where the money is all. This is one of the little...
It's a small thing. Yes. I did clip 40 seconds of this guy, and that's interesting. I didn't clip what you clipped, and you didn't clip what I clipped. See how that works?
Well, it's a shocking level of hypocrisy, double standard, double speak. I mean, the United States is carrying out massive war games and military exercises in Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. These are the former Soviet republics, key Russian allies on Russia's border, coming within a few hundred kilometers of Russia's border with modern artillery. And that's not a threat. That's just keeping the peace. It extends American military power right up to the edge of Russia, surrounding Russia, as it were. The State Department and the media with the State Department constantly accuse Russia, even when it's acting within its own borders, of threatening its neighbors. I mean, that's just the way, that's the MO right now in the American media. And of course, the State Department and other government agencies feed that.
Obviously. And I found last night...
You can play there's gambling going on after that guy, too.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, that's not a slam on your clip, man. Don't get me wrong.
No, I know. No, I think the clip was warranted and needed that kicker. But this guy is this guy is just summarizing.
Well, I found some gold.
But I don't like this guy.
No, well, but we don't have to. But I will look into who's funding all these things. Because
the World's Workers' Party.
I looked at the 990. There's no mention of the World Workers' Party. So it's definitely segregated properly. Our man, Professor Steve Cohen. This is the Professor Emeritus from, which university is he, John? New York. I want to say Johns Hopkins? No?
No. I think he's with NYU or something. I'll look him up while you...
He is a professor on Russia. He's a Russian. He's a professor on Russia. And by the way, as I watched this whole speech at Fairfield University, I don't have a clip of it. Very irritating. He keeps plugging his wife. with her entire first name, last name, and as my wife said. So now I'm a little like, I got to look into who his wife is and what she's doing, because there's something, I don't know. I got a creepy feeling, which I know. I think we both typically really like Professor Cohen and what he has to say. And what I thought I would do for today's program is
he's at Princeton and NYU. He's got 2 jobs.
Okay.
And Princeton's a high end is the
that's
classy
that's
place.
The one you want, yeah. Orange tie. Now, I wanted to play a few clips from this rather long speech that he did, because it really, and it's coincidence or not, but it falls exactly in line with how we feel Ukraine came together, what happened, what the situation is, who the players are. Here's a minute and a half background of the history of the situation, how we got into this. And I think that he says some things that are very appropriate for the No Agenda producers when they're out there and they want to slip in something, the things that we talk about. Not that you can change people's opinions, but just to put in something intelligent in conversation when the conversation is, fucking Putin's going to kill everybody, man.
The origins of the Ukrainian crisis are to be found back in the 1990s, at least. If someone was going to write a history of how we got where we are today, you'd start with the end of the Soviet Union. You might start 400 years ago if you're going to do Ukraine. But the immediate history begins in the 90s. But it's current history. And even the youngest person in this room will remember it. It's been in the newspapers, on the telly. You all know this current crisis that began in November 2013. And its history is clear, and I think the facts of it are not disputable. So we need to remind ourselves of what happened. In November 2013, a political dispute in Kiev over a proposed European trade agreement led to street protests that formed on a famous square called the Maidan. And led then, depending on how you look at it, this is a dispute, to the overthrow or the downfall of Ukraine's elected president, Viktor Yanukovych. He was a rotter, he was corrupt, he wasn't courageous, but he was elected, and everybody agreed the election had been fair in Ukraine. He was made to go away. And that event in Kiev, whether you look at it as a coup, as the Russians do, or as a glorious democratic revolution, as some in the West and in Ukraine do, it's a matter of interpretation. That then led to protests in eastern Ukraine, because Yanukovych represented then, his electoral base was largely in eastern Ukraine. And that then led, directly or indirectly, to Russia's annexation of Crimea. And that led to the onset of the ongoing Ukrainian civil war between the country's not entirely, but largely pro-Russian eastern provinces that border Russia and its western provinces.
Now, sorry about the sound. It's a wireless mic, and it's just shit. But I think it's worth listening to. And here's the history. This is what I've been looking for. So if this is a civil war, what is really the dispute? There's very little information about the historical situation in Ukraine as it comes to who's who. Did people really think they belong to Russia? And he has a beautiful little piece, which I think is really the kicker of his information here, why Ukraine is in civil war and how it was easy to manipulate and take advantage of the cultural and geopolitical issues in the country.
The American Orthodox assertion is that this is all due to Putin's aggression. That's the phrase, Putin's aggression. And here, too, we find myths, beginning with this fundamental one. And I apologize to Ukrainians or people of Ukrainian descent in the room, but I think if they think about it, they'll agree with me. All this talk of the Ukraine and the Ukrainian people striving to be free of Russian influence and join the West is, to put it politely, fragmentary. For centuries, Ukraine has been a divided country. It's not my fault. It's not Putin's fault. It's God's fault. Centuries of being formed from fragments of different empires left Ukraine divided religiously, ethnically, economically, politically, geographically. Mainly between the pro-Russian eastern provinces and the western provinces that look to Europe. But not only. You find both sides in central Ukraine, even in Kiev. When this crisis began, Ukraine had one state. But it wasn't, in the sense that the rhetoric has it, one country. It should have remained one country. It was struggling to do that after the end of the Soviet Union. But anybody who was going to tamper with this delicate balance in Ukraine either had an evil deed on his or her mind or didn't know history.
I love that he says his or her mind, clearly referring to Victoria Nuland.
And Hillary.
Yeah, and Hillary were their techno experts and either didn't know what was going on or just had bad intentions. Yes.
Or didn't know Ukraine. So the civil war that we now see in Ukraine is not Putin's fault. It was latent, at very least, latent in Ukrainian society and history.
There you go.
All along.
All along. That was the thing I needed to hear. I need to understand that this has been, and although he says it's God's fault, like, okay, I think he's just using that as an example of things that have happened over 1,000 years. And there came the Kagans and the Newlands and McCain and Hunter Biden, the cokehead, and they just all they had to do was throw a little bit of gas on the fire and it was good to go.
Didn't take much.
Did not take much at all. It's an undisputable proxy war. If you want to hear Cohen about that, you like it, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't like the quality of the sound, but the information is good. Cohen's great. He's like our go-to guy for this information.
He's very worried, though. He feels that this proxy war, which he says is undisputable, it can get very dangerous. So I have...
I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah, but for real. Like something really bad.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I am. I'm for the first time. I'm saying, wait a minute. Cohen is putting this a little bit differently, and I was whatever. The Cold War, so no big deal. But it actually could come to some nasty blows.
It might be designed to.
Oh, God help us! It's his fault.
That civil war grew into a new Cold War between the United States and NATO on the one hand, and Russia on the other. And now, as we talk, it has become a proxy American-Russian war. Russia indisputably is abetting militarily the rebel fighters or the separatists or whatever you want to call them.
And I appreciate him saying this. So he says undisputably, and I'll take his word for it, his research. He has a whole piece in his speech about how he may be wrong with his analysis, but these facts, he feels very strongly he has the facts straight, which is kind of what we do. You know, we usually have the right facts, and it's just an analysis. Just turns out to be different from what the mainstream seems to be pushing.
In eastern Ukraine, and the United States, somewhat less openly, is funding and arming Kiev's armies. And as you know, there's now a debate in Washington and a proposal that we fund them much more grandly. I believe $3 billion worth in the next 3 years, with much more substantial weapons. Still worse, this new Cold War, and there's no doubt about it, call it by whatever name. The newspapers can't bring themselves to say, they call it the worst crisis since the Cold War. They can't bring them to say it's a new Cold War. Fine. They're hung up about this for various journalistic reasons.
Well, he doesn't explain that, but I wanted to ask you. He says that the media won't call it a Cold War, a new Cold War. They call it the worst crisis since the Cold War for journalistic reasons. Why can't they do that? What do you know what he's referring to?
Well, the Cold War, yeah, I think. I don't know for sure, but this is what I would believe to be true, is that the Cold War was a moment in time, and it was very delineated. It's like if you wanted to take it to an extreme, this is a repeat of World War I. You're not going to start calling it World War I. The Cold War's over. We have to have a term. The journalistic, you can't go back and wait. The Cold War ended like 15, 20 years ago in like 90, 20, I guess, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years, whatever, 9, 10, 11, yeah. A while back. So you can't start calling something. It's not proper. It's not the Cold War. The Cold War's over. It's something that happened in the past.
I understood. So you can either say Cold War II.
No one's going to do that.
Well, they did it with World War II. Why we keep talking about World War III? Why wouldn't they do it with Cold War II?
It just doesn't sound right.
Journalistic reasons. Journalistic reasons. It doesn't sound right.
Journalistic reasons doesn't sound right. Come up with a new. There's got to be something new.
Frigid.
For one thing, the Soviet Union is gone, so you can't have another Cold War. Now there's just with you, just us and Russia.
How about the colder war? The colder war, the coldest war.
And it's not now. It's unless the Soviet Union reforms, you can't use Cold War II. With World War II, you could say it was the same combatants. It was the French versus the Germans.
Well, let's come on, man. Let's scrub in here.
I'd like to scrub in and come up with a new term.
Let's scrub in. We should come up with something.
These things are hard to do.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Coin a term and make it stick.
Okay. Well, we can do this.
Oh, well, we have to keep it in the back of our mind.
The chat room is now going to assist.
Trying to do it now on the fly.
The lukewarm war, the freezing war. I'm just the polar vortex war. Okay, we can do better than that. Wargate. No. Come on, people.
Wargate.
Wargate. Putin's pushback.
The Putin war.
The Putin war. Putin polar war.
Polar.
The Putin war. Now, the Putin war is not good. I don't think the Putin war is good.
The Ukraine agenda.
the Ukraine agenda. No. Well, there's Brzezinski. What he had, the grand chess game, stuff like that. This is a part of that. So maybe a subset. How about checkers in Donetsk?
The legacy.
Chess in Kyiv. Professor Stephen Cohen finds this all very dangerous, and he points directly to what we deal with pretty much every single episode of this program. In fact, he misspeaks, and he says information instead of misinformation. He corrects himself halfway through, but it is all about the information and the real. Maybe that's it, John. The
bullcrap war,
the propaganda war, the PR war. We'll work on it. Here's his first list of dangers.
But this new Cold War may be more dangerous than the last one, which we barely survived.
Is this true? We barely survived the last Cold War?
Well, it depends on your perspective. There was always a lot of thought that everyone had their finger on the trigger, and there was a couple missteps, and we almost got into a war over Cuba.
Right.
We could have all been killed and all the rest of it. It's not that we barely survived as though we were shot to death and then crawled to the hospital, and then they pumped enough blood into us that we revitalized. Not that kind of barely, but some sort of barely.
I think we need kind of like a hip-hop term for it this time around. Something Kanye West might, refer to in a song lyric.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to work on it.
Go back to the clip.
Okay.
Why? Well, first of all, think about it. The epicenter of the last Cold War was in Berlin, a long way from Moscow. The epicenter of this Cold War is in Ukraine, right plunk on Russia's borders. And moreover...
This, I think, is a great point that he's making here about the epicenter being much closer to Russia than previously.
Right in the center of Russia's Slavic civilization.
How about the Kale War? Can we do that?
I like that.
It shares with a large part of Ukraine, not all of it, but certainly with many Ukrainians, through intermarriage, through history, through culture, through language, through religion. So that's one reason why you can imagine all the potential for misunderstanding, mishap, provocation, accident, 1,000-fold more dangerous than when the center was in Berlin. Secondly, because this Cold War is unfolding in what was called, in the run-up of World War I, a fog of war. That expression refers to misinformation.
I didn't know that. And I looked it up. The fog of war indeed refers to just lies. I always thought it meant something else, like you're stunned by bombs exploding and no one knows what the hell is going on. I didn't understand.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's I looked up the definition.
The fog of war, which because World War I, to get the Americans to even go to that war, we had to lie to the public. And there's some great propaganda posters. Anyone out there can go to the Library of Congress, look up World War I propaganda posters, and they have most of them digitized. And you have these big gorillas coming over, literally giant gorilla with a German army cap on and wearing a uniform, and a big, gruesome looking gorilla carrying women under his arms and bashing things. very funny, actually. Yeah. But everyone, I guess, oh no, those horrible guerrillas from Germany are going to kill us all. This technique works with the American public like a charm. I mean, the people that were afraid that ISIS is coming over to kill you after chopping off heads is just remarkable.
Wasn't that? I'm trying to think, because when was the Smith-Mundt Act put into place? That wasn't until the 70s. So that was the true level of propaganda before that became outlawed under the Smith-Mundt Act, which I think was
a lot of it was orchestrated 70s. by Bernays and his proteges, I believe.
Yes,
but these posters, you got to go look these up, and because some of them are just gems. I mean, gems, and in fact. What's the name? Goebbels. Goebbels.
No, there's no R. Goebbels.
Yeah, I know. I can't say it any other way.
You can't. Goebbels.
But Goebbels was the propaganda minister for the Nazis, and he was a student and believed that the only reasons that the Germans didn't win World War I was because of American propaganda, and they were propagandizing the American public to want them to go to a war they wouldn't otherwise be interested in. And we had to do a better job, the Germans did, of propagandizing our people and around the world. And until the war really broke out, the Germans were very good at convincing everyone that this was great what they were doing, taking over Austria and all the rest of it. And this is all because Goebbels was a genius. And in fact, I would also recommend this.
Wait, before you do that, Goebbels was nephew, of course, to Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, that's right. I vaguely remember that's true.
Yeah.
One of the things you should do, people who like to study this stuff,
and everyone who produces the show should be studying this. This is the essence. This is the essence of what it's all about.
Nobody else will tell you to do this.
No, not in their interest.
Find there's some Goebbels essays and some literature. It's available online. You can find it if you dig around. Read what he has to say. It's very entertaining because he was incredibly practical, and he also has developed a lot of his own ideas beyond what we were good at. And a lot of it's kind of been ignored. Some of it's not, but it's something to read. I recommend reading this guy and seeing what he was thinking. And then he's constantly bitching about the United States being better at it than anybody else.
What I always like telling people is about Bernays' famous cigarette smoking campaign for women in the 1920s.
Yeah, it was later, wasn't it?
No, I think it was 1929. It was late, 29. The industry wanted to overcome the biggest social taboo at the time, women smoking in public. Women could only smoke in designated areas or not at all.
Yeah, they were sluts if they smoked.
Yeah, I still think a woman smoking on the street is trashy. I mean, not anyone smoking on the street is trashy, but yeah. That's very cultural. But women were arrested if they were violating any of these rules. So the Bernays staged the Easter Parade during the Easter Parade in 1929 in New York City. They had models in the parade with lit Lucky Strikes, or they called, and this makes so much sense, torches of freedom. This is where all this bull crap comes from, all in our culture.
Torches of freedom.
So there were hot women, walking up in the parade, and they were smoking, and it was cool. And then it was like, oh, it's okay, it's accepted now.
Yeah, he did know how to utilize the imagery of the elites.
Yes.
To influence everybody else. There's a number of people study this. If you get this would put us over the top. If you had Jay-Z and Kanye and then maybe a couple of actually those two for sure.
But let's throw in. But you want to throw in a white person in this mix?
What white person could we think of?
Ed Sheeran. But he's not hip hop. He's
not hip hop. I'm talking about people that are known to everyone.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran.
I never heard of him. How could he be known to everyone?
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Let's say Brad Pitt.
How about Green Day?
Brad Pitt.
Okay, Brad Pitt.
Good example.
How about Vanilla Ice?
Hanks. Hot Shots. And they all said, boy, there's nothing that makes my day than listening to the No Agenda show. Right. We would be done. We would be making so much money. It would be outrageous. Like within a month, everybody in the country would be listening to the No Agenda show.
Yeah, you're right. How do we make that happen?
Obama actually said something like, oh, yeah, those guys at the No Agenda show, they really get on my nerves. Boom.
Yeah.
We just took over the country.
Yeah. It's President Dvorak and Vice President Curry here.
I mean, everyone would be listening.
Podcasting from the White House.
Would have to pay attention to what our analyses were and the rest of it. That's how it works.
Well, maybe we can,
We got, the only guy that mentions our show is Leo. This is the other end of the spectrum. Once in a while, some other podcaster.
This is very, very sad.
It's not good.
Oh man, this doesn't make me feel very good.
Yeah. Well,
let me finish this. This bit here.
It was in Berlin. Secondly, because this Cold War is unfolding in what was called, in the run-up of World War I, a fog of war. That expression refers to misinformation. Before World War I, there was no email. There was no digital communication, so it took a while. It's flying today. It's information from Moscow, yes. It's information from Kiev. It's misinformation from Kiev. It's misinformation from Washington. It's misinformation out of Brussels. Even those of us who are following this, who have the language skills to read it in the original, who know the history, often cannot figure out who's telling the truth and who's lying. It is hard. It is hard to know the actual facts, but it comes down to the facts that the facts are all bad and dangerous and getting worse.
There you go. Lies! Oh, lies.
But we say a lot. There's lots of lies.
Yeah, but I like hearing the professor say it's everybody's lying. Washington, Moscow, Kiev.
I think we base our analysis on that premise.
Everybody's lying.
The possibility exists that everyone is lying.
Pretty much everybody's lying. Yeah. But we were talking about Bernays. Actually, why don't we can probably do this right now. We love watching the native advertising, and I don't even know if I can call this native advertising other than it was an opportunity and a crack sales team took advantage of it. And it may be a template. Maybe we'll see more of this. I don't really recall what the local station is, but it's about a resident in the area, and she turned 104 years old. This is always a great human interest story. I think you can do these over and over again. People love a guy or a woman who's been hanging around. You get over that 100 numbers, like, wow, that's so great. And especially if they're kind of fun to watch and they're not they're mobile, then it's great. It makes you feel hopeful. I think isn't that it? Isn't that what it is? Hopeful for eternal life.
I don't know what it is. It's just it is a curiosity, though.
And by the way, you could be one of those people in the future.
I'm going for it.
How do you think you became? How did you do it? 108 years old, Mr. Dvorak. What do you think?
Well, a lot of it had to do with the Social Security being too low. I had to work until I never got to retire. I'm 108. I'm still working. I'm doing a podcast. You may have heard of a podcast called the No Agenda Show.
And you still are living in Silicon Valley
same place.
Never mind. I'm going to stop. All right. So this is a native ad, certainly, but also possibly just a great sales job. And they really went all out on this.
A Fort Worth woman is celebrating her 104th year of life. She has a lot of stories to tell, and she's not afraid to treat herself despite the wishes of her doctor.
Well, at 103, I didn't think I'd make it, and it's still perking along.
At 104 years old, Elizabeth Sullivan says she doesn't need the advice of real doctors, so she keeps another doctor close by.
People try to give me coffee for breakfast. Well, I'd rather have a Dr. Pepper.
She fell in love with the soft drinks trademark 23 flavors when she was in her 60s.
The whole so first, I love they slip in the soft drink with 23 flavors. But right now, they're already into the ad. With the follow-up to her saying that.
Another doctor close by.
People try to give me coffee for breakfast. Well, I'd rather have a Dr. Pepper.
She fell in love with the soft drinks trademark 23 flavors when she was in her 60s.
What is that? What is that information doing in there?
I don't know.
And so you think that's funny, right? What can we do?
I have one of these, by the way, when you're finished with this.
All right. How far do you think they'll take this one?
Well, I got one.
I'll finish this, and then we'll bring in yours.
This goes on. Does she go on about the great?
Hello, I'm hinting at you that it's much bigger than this.
Oh yeah.
All right.
She's in her 60s.
I started drinking them about 40 years ago, 3 a day, and every doctor that sees me says it'll kill you, but they die and I don't, so they must be a mistake somewhere.
Okay, so let's just summarize before we get to the big punchline.
Mistake somewhere.
They died, I'm still living with my 3 Dr. Peppers a day.
Today, for her birthday, she's getting a very big surprise.
We brought you a beautiful cake shaped like a Dr. Pepper can.
Look at that.
Isn't that gorgeous?
So you can hear this is the PR woman.
Isn't that gorgeous?
For Dr. Pepper. Look, we got a cake in the shape of a Dr. Pepper. Isn't that gorgeous, honey?
Put it right there.
But wait, we can do one more. We can go one step further to really nail this.
Awesome. We brought you a
Look at here. There's more in bottles, no doubt. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing fine.
Let me come to you. You stay right there.
When you live to be 104 and still can talk to nice people, you deserve some Dr. Peppers, but I never expected.
She even got a gift basket straight from the CEO of Dr. Pepper's Snapple Group, Larry Young.
The CEO is there.
Nobody's going to believe all of this stuff.
The CEO came to hand her Dr. Pepper. These people are shameless.
All right, I'm going to give you a clip of the day.
That's very kind of you. I feel like I'm monopolizing clip of the day recently, but I'll accept it. Thank you very much.
Clip of the day.
You get them when you deserve them. It's not a monopoly. Right. But I have one that is I think is a topper to that in terms of, it doesn't talk about, this is not a native ad, but this is showing you where things are headed.
Okay.
In terms of like the corruption.
Okay.
I mean, that was corruption, that plain and simple, what you just played.
I think it was a good sales job, really. It's like, hey.
Outstanding. Whoever the guy was at Dr. Pepper who did that deal, he was.
Well, the question is, did the station sell it, or do you think Dr. Pepper put that together?
Oh, you don't have no idea.
Or the agency?
It could be that the woman's birthday was coming up and somebody got wind of a story because she mentioned it in the story as a legitimate thing. Maybe she does drink Dr. Pepper. And a guy at Dr. Pepper picked up on it and then went to the station and said, we can do a package and we'll compensate you for this and that. I don't know. I have no idea. Those things are somewhat mysterious.
It was a good one, though. It came together perfectly, beautifully. And
it's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Slow clap. Slow clap. It's just gorgeous.
Okay,
gorgeous.
Here's the future of media. Is going to be this is a little hint of what's going on. This is Mexico in the movies and James Bond.
Okay.
Well, producers of the upcoming James Bond film were recently instructed by Sony Pictures to rewrite the script. Why? Because the government of Mexico was willing to pay them to do so. The costs of the new Bond film were already skyrocketing when the Mexican government offered some $14 million for just 4 minutes worth of scene changes, plus another $6 million in incentives. Things like showing more modern parts of a city, using a known Mexican actress, changing Bond's pursuit of a villain to happen during a Day of the Dead celebration instead of around a cage match. All in all, Sony has made the changes, and it's raised questions about the ability of foreign governments to shape movie scripts. David Robinson, president of Morgan Creek Productions, says, quote, some movies wouldn't get made if it weren't for tax credits. That's brutally honest. If you didn't get that 20% or 30% back, you'd have to cut the base, or it would have to come from somewhere, end quote. See that, North Korea? No need to hack. Just cut a check.
This makes me very sad. This is a very, very sad report.
Yeah, it is.
This is so sad because the human resources, and these a-hole elites who are running the show, they really believe there's too many of us. And I think as we started the program, they really just want to kill a whole bunch of us. I mean, all they're doing is just mind control. It's in the movies, it's in the television, it's everywhere. It's you have to, throw out your television, unplug. And that'll never happen. I see it going only in a very negative, very bad direction.
Yeah, well, you can say if you run into people that are unplugged completely, don't watch television.
Yeah,
they seem more sane than everybody else. And if you bring up the stuff that we do on our show, like anything, they go, I don't know what global warming. I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, never heard of it. I don't know. Yeah, well, that's terrible that they're doing that. Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
And then they're fine. They're fine. I think that it's the idea of current events, which was drummed into us when we were kids. I remember when I was a kid before the internets.
Yeah.
The kids whose parents didn't have a newspaper subscription were scum.
I remember that too. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they don't read the newspaper? Oh.
Yeah.
They won't know what's going on. Actually, if you read the newspaper, you don't know what's going on. If you listen to No Agenda Show, you do.
You get at least an analysis, and we cut through some of it. We tried to give a broad swath, but it's not always easy. But at least we can combat some of the bull crap and get people thinking. But I mean, no one is going to be able to, when they have Mexico paying to have Mexico in there, that has an effect. So anybody can come in and buy anything. And the joke at the end of that is correct. Even though North Korea didn't hack anything, but just anybody can cut a check and get whatever they want.
Yeah, and you can get publicity for Apple, for example. So they had this clip on. It was a promotion for the Apple Watch. It was so obviously native advertising, but there was a couple of gotchas in here that's like, wait a minute. If this is top secret, why are you there? Which is the first question I always ask. But let's play the Apple and the how great they are clip.
Cupertino-based Apple has a top secret place to work out. Take a look. Inside this warehouse, Apple employees have been testing high-tech Apple workout gear for nearly 2 years. This is our first look inside. Fancy headgear measures breathing, and the Apple Watch tracks calories, heart rate, and even tells you to stand up if you've been sitting for too long. Apple calls it the future of healthcare.
Wow.
That's the future of healthcare. By the way, they show all these people on treadmills. They had these things on their faces.
That's the future of slavery. What do you mean the future of healthcare?
Like slave group.
Slavery. Slave. Get up, slave.
I don't know if you saw the Dark Knight or one of the latest Batman movies. This guy Bane. No. He has this thing over his face.
Yeah.
And these guys all had a thing over their face that looked like a gas mask kind of a thing with this creepy looking. The whole thing was creepy. But they're working and exercising, and now the watch is going to tell you to stand up because you've been sitting too long.
It'll be more like human resource. Human resource. You must stand up now. You must stand up. You are not making efficient use of your vessel.
Human resource. Time to stand. It's time to sit. Human resource, you need nutrition. Nutrition is needed now.
Exactly. That's good. That sounds great.
But that's exactly what it is.
Human resource. Time for rest. Take your Soma tablets.
Now, we're talking a little earlier about this character that's the Jeff Rathke being a short-termer. I think you're right, because I have a clip.
Warning, unlawful content, violation by Dvorak, Human Resource Dvorak.
Yeah, these are all good. This is during a press conference, this guy, they ask him some simple question, and this is his answer, and I have to comment on it after it's done, this little clip. This is Iran talks and the new spokeshole.
Iran, the U.S., and 5 other powers broke off nuclear talks in Switzerland today. The Iranian delegation returned home for the funeral of their president's mother. Secretary of State John Kerry said the discussions had been very productive. And in Washington, his spokesman urged patience.
We're focused on the deadline at the end of March, and that's why we have the intention to go back and resume talks. So we're focused on that and focused on getting a good deal.
The way I understand,
getting a good deal.
What is he buying a car?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
He's going
focused on getting a good deal.
He's going for the March Madness sale in Iran. What is the New Year called again? Rowan.
Ramadan?
No, the New Year.
Oh, cockroach?
No. You're just yelling random things now. Insects,
I know there's
cockroach.
a new year coming up. And some Persian.
Are you
New
just
Year.
yelling random
We're
insect
abusing
names?
it. We're being very culturally insensitive.
Mosquito. But I could look it up. I'm just hoping that someone in the chat room will just say it, because then the thing that Obama celebrated a week earlier than it really was. But my understanding is the guy's mother passed.
Yeah,
and
so they had to go back home.
Yeah, and so everyone got there and they're like, dude, I don't feel like talking right now. I'll give you a good deal when you come back. I give you a good deal.
It's like buying a rug.
Nor'uz, that's what it is. Nor'uz.
Nor'uz, yeah.
Nor'uz, yes. Yeah.
I think they're in the round of 16.
Yes. But we're going to go get a good deal. It's ludicrous. Just ludicrous. I like it, but it's ludicrous.
And then we have the ISIL stunt to recruit Western youth.
ISIL is also well known for its slick media operation, bombarding the web.
Slick media operation. Woo!
With propaganda as well as those sickening videos of executions. But now it's taking a rather peculiar and unsettling turn. Militant figures posing with cute animals or holding bunches of flowers, for instance. They're even promoting their own accessories with images of rings or pictures of small children wearing Islamic State logos. Political analyst Daniel Wagner says the media stunt here is aimed at recruiting Western youth.
Wait a minute. They're pumping out merchandise?
Did you miss this?
Yeah, I'm astounded.
Well, they've got mostly pictures with doggies and kittens, little puppies.
Yeah, like our newsletter.
They're holding them, and they got a gun with them, and they're holding them.
Hold on a second.
Attention, unlawful content, citizen. Cute kittens and puppies are unlawful content. They can be used to self-radicalize.
Now, here's what got me about the clip, though, even though this is going to go nowhere, is they show a picture of a little kid, like a 3-year-old, holding a printed flag, and I guess had a ISIS T-shirt on, which are probably available somewhere. So they had,
at the gift shop,
and
obviously.
her face was obscured by some program was blocked.
At the Caliphate
I've seen
gift
this
shop.
before with these ISIS clips. Why are they blocking faces? Who's doing it? Is it ISIS doing it to protect the little girl? Or what? What's the point?
That's a good question.
It's like, I don't know. We didn't get a clearance. She didn't write we didn't get a clearance of writing. She didn't sign the document.
Didn't sign the waiver.
A waiver, that's what I'm looking for. She didn't sign a waiver, so let's block her face.
No, I think it was probably a non-union child actor. That's probably what it was. I know.
ISIS. We will follow them to the gates of hell. ISIS. I feel good.
And her head is gone.
That's right. That's I need to get a hold of some of this ISIS merchandise. I would very much like to have a hoodie. And that's your line, John. Don't you want an ISIS hoodie?
An ISIS hoodie?
Yeah. An ISIS hoodie would be nice.
You could wear probably an ISIS sweatshirt or an ISIS T-shirt around town as this big, tall, blonde guy.
Yeah.
But once you wear the hoodie and you put that thing over your head and you can't you kind of obscure yourself, somebody's going to attack you.
Yeah.
Although I bet you if you went down the street, because they do this on the various talk shows and at night, I'll bet you if you put an ISIS sweatshirt on in Austin and walked down one of those streets where all the bars are and went to a couple of bars,
Rainy
and
Street,
asked people what this meant, they wouldn't know.
That was, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Hey, that's cool, man. I like it. It's kind of like it's like
the Raiders flag, man.
Man, it's an ink blot. I can see people having sex in it.
But also, it should have your name and your name in Arabic, and then a Toyota logo underneath that. Like really just
Toyota logo. Actually, a Toyota logo in Arabic would be good.
I really jam it up. All right, I want to thank a few people before we do that and give you some instruction on how to survive the information apocalypse. Ooh. Maybe that's it. Maybe the new Cold War is the information apocalypse.
I'm writing it down.
Okay, good. Here's Charlie Rose, who is an elite, and he slipped. I guess now he's doing some work in the evenings on CBS, so he does the morning show.
Oh, the guy's going to drop dead.
But he's a horn dog. And
he's always been a horn dog. He doesn't have time for sex. That's why.
Man, I mean, can someone please... Can someone blow Charlie, man? He's getting a little nutty. Here's the one we had when he talked to Angelina Jolie.
Find a lobbyist, and then they can get him some action.
Tell me about the sexuality. It's in your DNA.
All right, so that was him. Was it Angelina Jolie? I keep getting that wrong. Maybe
either that or Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, some hot actress for sure. And so now he's taking a toss back from Nora McDonald, who's very pretty.
Norm McDonald?
Nora McDonald.
Oh, Nora McDonald.
Yeah, Nora. She's cute.
I don't.
Yeah, she's cute. Very, very pretty.
I'll look her up.
And she's on remote. I forget. It doesn't even matter. Oh, it's about the plane that skidded off the runway. That almost ended in the water at LaGuardia. Was that just before the weekend? I think. So just listen to how he comes back after she's tossing from her report back to him in the studio.
Kept us out of that water. Airport officials say the runway was plowed and that 2 pilots reported good conditions minutes before Flight 1086 skidded out of control. Charlie, good to see you in the evening.
Next time, dinner and a warm fire, Nora. Thank you so much.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, she's on the morning show. She's on the Today Show, I think.
It's like next time, dinner and a warm fire.
Yeah, no, he's a horn dog. You're right. And that is a...
Amen. Fist bump.
That is inappropriate behavior.
I liked it, though. I'm going to try it myself.
Next time, dinner and a warm fire?
Yeah. I'll try it out. See if that's a line that works. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Charlie Rose has some magic.
I get the feeling he doesn't.
Turn off your television!
That is some good advice.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Well, let's start with a few people to thank for today's show, 706.
Yay.
I believe that's the correct number.
That is the number, indeed.
Starting with Kelly. Kelly. 14515 in Campbell, California. Happy birthday to John. May I please have a birthday call out for myself on April 7th? And karma to all. Long-time boner, first-time donor.
Yes.
That's the way to start.
We'll have that.
Start with a nice.
Yep.
We'll give you a little karma there at the end of the list. And Craig Covell in Chicago, Illinois, 12333. No comment. We'll talk a little bit about Chicago, I think, later in the show. And that crazy Pullman Square.
I think this next one may be
bitching about. It's not talking about.
This next one may be a mistake.
This next one may be a mistake?
Could be.
Well,
it's Ancilla. Don't read her last name because that's not the name she uses.
Right. Ancilla, yeah.
And she donated Ancilla for her boyfriend's birthday. I think she accidentally set up a recurring payment. And I know she can't necessarily afford this recurring payment, so we'll thank her for her donation. But
well, it's not that easy to set up a 11111 recurring payment. It would take work.
I think she might have. I recall her saying, "Oh, I set up an automatic payment." I think she was trying to change it. I don't know. It could be that she wants. I don't know.
We'll ask her.
We will. She listens, so she'll let us know.
Very famous person.
Yes.
In Europe.
Yes.
Jeffrey Schwab in Olympia, Washington, $100.01. Gentlemen, please. Since becoming enlightened by your show last October, I've hit several unsuspecting souls directly in the mouth. Please continue delivering TBPITU, which is the best podcast in the universe.
That's right.
Acronym. Jason Southwell in Pompano Beach, Florida, $100. Javier Vasquez in San Diego, California, $100. Brian Watson in 7777, Sugar Grove, Illinois. Sir Reddy Kilowatt in Battlement Mesa, Colorado, 7373. K0JEG, 73. Borislav Marinov, Trabuco Canyon, California, 7060. Jeremy Pellegrin in Blackwood, New Jersey, 6633. Sir Bogdan Lehendro in Roanoke, Texas, 60. Adam Ward in Derby, Derbyshire, double nickels on the dime. it just starts to drop off quickly. We didn't do that well today. Alan Simpson, 5420 in Fairfield, Illinois. George Tangen in Inner Grove Heights, Minnesota nuts. And now we go. These are all $50 donors. Jason Daniels in Dallas, Texas. Brandon Menk in Tempe, Arizona. Andrew Martin in Turella, New South Wales, Australia. Hello. Tim Abel in Bergfield, Berkshire, UK, 50. Andy Clements, parts unknown. Stephen Winslow, Bristol, Avon, UK. A lot of UK coming in here today. Thank you. Sir David Trotsky in Romeoville, Illinois. Benjamin Smith in Oakland, California. That concludes our donation segment for show 406. And reminding people to go to Dvorak.org/NA and help us for the somewhat lagging Thursday show. This wasn't great today, but it was better than last Thursday. Put it that way. And that's our group. We got a lot of birthdays today, luckily.
I thought there was a request somewhere for the longer Bomb Them song or jingle. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that didn't show up.
Could have been an email.
I know, but
I don't see it.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We have a karma for everybody that a lot of people requested. We're going to do that. And we'll throw jingles.
Yeah, we're going to throw jingles your way. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you all very much for your contribution to the program. It is really the only way that we can keep this going. It's the only way you can get the analysis that you're getting, the deconstruction. And it's you just give to us as what you feel is appropriate, what value you derive from it. It seems to save marriages, although not mine. It seems to make people feel good about themselves, makes them have a nicer, easier life. What else, John?
It makes you healthier and gets you laid.
There you go.
If you wake up with the blues, trying to fill your day with news, there's one thing you must remember: no agenda in the morning.
For a healthy, balanced news diet, try noagendashow.com. Dvorak.org/NA.
Today, Jeremy Pellegrin turned 39 on the 20th. George Tangen, 51 tomorrow. And Kelly Simpson will be celebrating on April 7th, so we're nice and early with that one. Congratulations from all your friends, the staff and management from the No Agenda Show, best podcast in the universe. Let me see, we've got one knighting today. This was Eric Finkenbeiner. Was that what it was? Beiner? Eric Finkenbeiner.
Yeah, Finkenbeiner. Okay, and he wanted yes, I know what. Now I remember what he wanted. So if we can just grab our swords. Now this is because he has supported the program in the amount of $1,000 or more. Therefore, he can come and join us at the round table where we find the No Agenda knights and dames. So please, Eric Finkenbeiner, step up. Finkenbeiner, I hereby pronosticate thee, Sir Finky of the Techno Experts. You are now a knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. For you, my friend, we have a stellar lineup as requested. We've got our Hookers and Blow, Red Boys and Chardonnay, Bad Science and Perky Breast, Malted Barley and Hops, Whiskey and Wet Wipes, 3 geishas and a bucket of fried chicken, Rubenesque Women and Rosé, Sparkling Cider and Escorts, and, of course, Mutton and Mead. Welcome to the round table. It's getting pretty sizable, that table we have.
Yes, very large.
It's not bad. Not bad. Go to No Agenda Nation.
Not everyone meets at the same time.
Well, no, that would be... Can you imagine? I mean, that would be the opportunity for Putin to take over the world.
Yeah.
If none of our peerage were protecting their protectorates. NoAgendaNation.com/rings, and Eric DeShill will get right on it. There were 2 other emails. It was kind of funny, just talking about relationships. And I think I don't know if these came in with donation notes, but I just wanted to read this one from Annie. Now, Annie donated on Thursday, and I think I said send pictures. Would that be something I would say, maybe?
You say that constantly.
So subject line, you earned it. Hi, Adam. You most certainly earned yourself a picture in the last episode. Not only did you read my email, but you talked about my hometown. I had lived in the Brookfield-Newton line my entire life. Newtown line. I've honestly been hesitant, to say the least, to speak of my hometown and my childhood friendship with Adam Lanza.
If you haven't figured it out in your head, we were the same age. My incredible boyfriend, Max Turnquist, got me into the show and has constantly asked me to tell you more about my town. Although I'm still hesitant to tell a lot, I'll give you a little. A very close friend of mine mentioned that she had spoken to him about a military career. And this close friend is a private first class. I don't know how successful that was for him between August and December, but I'm guessing it didn't go well. I'm actually in a very odd position as far as this goes, because after the event, my mother's company sold the Newtown Public School District their current security system. It's Honeywell's Instant Alert, and in case of any kind of emergency, it immediately contacts the parents through email, text, or phone call. That's interesting. I don't think that happened. Did it happen? Did that go out?
I never heard this.
I haven't heard it either. And she says, not going to lie, but that sale did help fund my degree. I'm starting to think everywhere I end up living is cursed. First Newtown, then Boston. I lived only a few blocks from the finish line in undergrad.
Well, maybe it's her.
Well, that's what she's saying. But here's what's interesting. In the random number theory, about an hour later, I get an email from Max Turnquist, her boyfriend. And so it's separate emails. And his subject line is, I'm drunk and have crystals. Obviously, this got my attention. Hey, Adam, love your show. And the Annie you read the note of yesterday is my GF and one of the several people I've hit in the mouth. I also have a crystal collection, which brings me to my point. Is there any crystal you'd want? Hey, sorry for the incoherence. I'm like 8 drinks deep. Also, Annie sent you pics. Hope you enjoy. I thought that was really nice.
What, that he offered you crystals?
Well, no, they came in. They're both, he hit her in the mouth and she became a listener. She's going to be a producer, a very good source for us. I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling something good is coming out of this.
Well, maybe. At least you got a picture.
I forwarded it to you. Didn't see that?
She emailed the picture. I thought she sent one.
Oh, yeah. No. Emailed. Hello. Netanyahu did his thing. I missed all of this. Bibi. Yeah, I missed all of this. His scaremongering there for Congress and the way that was played. I don't give a crap. But anyway, he won. He won his election, and by, I guess, a substantial margin, even though the media paid, soliciting sales by saying it's a tight race. But I just wanted to play this bit of him, I think maybe on Megyn Kelly. I don't know what this is from. I think it's Megyn Kelly. The difference between the Prime Minister of Israel and the President of the United States. And this is, a lot of people don't like this guy, but he just sounds like a cocky schoolyard bully. I mean, it's really, I just wanted to play this.
I was once asked, what's the difference between the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Israel? And I said, Megan, that the President of the United States, I believe, is always concerned about the security of the United States. But the Prime Minister of Israel, and I can speak personally, of the 9 years that I've been in office, there's not been a day that I haven't thought about the things I have to do to protect the survival of Israel. And that's a difference. We're the country that is most threatened with destruction around the world.
I love this. Wait a minute. Have you seen Syria? Have you seen Ukraine? Have you been in Somalia? Have you been in Yemen? Thank you.
Yemen's the latest.
So the survival of Israel. I don't know, BB, but listen to this. It ends this way.
And it's my responsibility to ensure that this state, the one and only Jewish state, lives forever. And that's a big burden, but that's why I'm here. That's why I was elected.
That's right, bitch. I'm here to kick some ass. That's why I was elected. The war man. What a dick.
Well, he's having fun.
I'll just give him a douchebag. He deserves a douchebag.
Yes. Let's take a look at what's going on in Yemen. I got a couple clips. I got the NewsHour Yemen bombing report, which was a gem, and then there's a backgrounder. Actually, this is not the backgrounder. Where's the other Yemen clip?
You got a Syrian backgrounder. That's something.
Yeah, that's different. Mm-hmm. Well, let's play the NewsHour Yemen bombing report so people can catch up with what's going on there after the Houthis kind of took over. Now a full-scale civil war is breaking out.
This was a day of terror in the capital of Yemen. Rebel TV in the city reports at least 137 people died and some 350 were wounded in a wave of bombings. A stunned witness said blood was running like a river. It was the deadliest attack in decades in a country torn by strife. 4 bombings rocked 2 crowded mosques during Friday prayers. Amid the carnage, men frantically tended to the wounded. Blood and debris littered the street, and witnesses tried to make sense of what happened.
We were in the mosque during the sermon. We first heard an explosion outside near the security perimeter. When the first explosion happened, they used the chaos to enter the mosque in the middle of prayer and blow us up from inside the building.
Both mosques are controlled by Shiite Houthi rebels who stormed the capital last fall and are said to have Iran's backing. The rebels control a growing swath of northern Yemen and have extended their reach westward. They have battled the Sunni-dominated al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, which holds sway in much of central Yemen. Adding to the chaos, the Islamic State group, also Sunni, claimed today's bombings and warned of a flood of attacks to oust the Houthis.
What is this Islamic State group name we have all of a sudden?
Sorry, what?
Well, now it's the not just saying Islamic State, but the Islamic State group, she said.
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't pay attention to it. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, it just sounded like maybe that was something new. Is that a new
new
way of describing? We'll have to pay attention to it.
Making it a group.
Central Yemen. Adding to the chaos, the Islamic State group, also Sunni, claimed today's bombings and warned of a flood of attacks to oust the Houthis. That drew a skeptical response in Washington.
It does appear that these kinds of claims are often made for a perception that they have that it benefits their propaganda efforts.
The U.S. has struggled to maintain any influence in Yemen through President Abd Rabbo Mansour Hadi. He was chased from the capital, and his loyalists are now fighting to hold a power base in the south.
I really am always tickled by the use of propaganda. So Bernays invented propaganda, but it's always Eastern or Mid-Eastern who you do propaganda. ISIS, IS. We don't have propaganda. It's news.
The IS group.
Yeah, IS group. Maybe that's a PR firm.
Islamic State group. It sounds like a joint venture between two different. The ISIL, ISIS, and the Islamic State became the Islamic State group.
Right.
LLC.
It's a roll-up.
That's the way to deal with it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because Islamic State was just 2 words, and nobody liked that. Because ISIL, ISIS, Islamic State.
Gives you a lot more. Yeah, I agree.
But now it's Islamic State group. It has a ring to it that I think could stick. Yeah, I'm glad you caught that. I did not catch that.
Yeah, it could just be, well, we'll see. We'll see what it is. Ashton Carter, Ash Carter, the new war secretary for the United States, was being grilled by Representative Walorski, I think it's from Indiana. And a good question, not a great question, but a good question. And there's some setup here as the president of the United States has said climate change is the number one threat. But we've had other number one threats because there's no real coordination with all this messaging that's going on.
No, they need a number one state group.
Yeah, they do need a state group because then otherwise you run into trouble. Here is Ashton Carter, who is going to get out of it pretty much unscathed, but he obviously will never answer the question.
Our president, as the commander-in-chief, said in his State of the Union address that the number one threat to the national defense is climate change. Admiral Mullen, just a few years ago, said he believes the number one national defense issue in our nation is the debt in our country. Do you believe that the debt this nation is carrying, nearly $18 billion, as we're sitting here as well having budget conversations, is more of a threat?
So you see what happens here? And this is a problem. Because, Admiral Mullen, he's retired, but you can't just be saying the guy was full of crap. And then you're going to say the president's full of crap? This is a tough question.
You're put in a terrible spot.
Yes, it's between a rock and a hard place.
Untenable.
What you going to do?
$18 billion, as we're sitting here as well, having budget conversations, is more of a threat to this nation's national security than climate change?
First you go alive. Fuck me with a chainsaw.
There are a number of serious dangers to the future of our country.
I would agree with you, sir. I'm just asking. I don't know you well. I'm just trying to get a perspective from where you're coming from, as we're going to be voting on a huge leap in this budget. And I think the American people want to know where the national defense leader is coming from as well. Do you believe that the nation's debt is a greater issue than climate change?
What I don't like about this is grandstanding on her part. This leads to nothing. It has nothing to do with more money. Yeah.
Is she a Democrat or a Republican? I want to know where she's coming from.
Republican.
So she is probably thinking that the debt is a bigger deal than climate change, and she wants to see what this guy thinks.
I think she's just trying to put him off balance, and she's alluding to the increase.
No, she's an idiot. You can tell. But anyway, play on.
But the people's business being done by idiots, grandstanding, is annoying.
As our commander-in-chief has stated?
I think they're both serious problems, and there are other serious problems that are not those two.
Trying to deflect,
we have to deal with all of those strategic challenges at the same time. You're naming two of the problems.
I'm naming what the commander-in-chief said.
You're being a dick.
A budget that you guys have been defending here for 3 hours now.
That's what you're doing.
I'm just saying, he says the greatest threat to our nation is climate change, and we're trying to make an argument that says, the greatest threat to this nation and trying to rally people in understanding is that we have an issue of debt that an admiral went on the record to say was a serious consequence and a threat to the survivability of this country. Did you agree?
I think that to the extent that the deficit drives budget behavior like the year-to-year struggle with sequester that we've faced, that is a challenge to our national security because it's a challenge to our national defense. I think we have threats around the world that are very dangerous to us. I think that, to get back to an earlier line of questioning, the strength of our nation depends upon other instruments of national power than our military power. I think in the long run, the strength of our nation depends upon our ability to educate people and have scientists.
You get the idea. He's just going to kill his way out with words.
Yeah, well, they have a time. They're timed, so they can. Most of these guys, I can't. You're wasting my time telling me this stuff. Well, you asked me the question.
Exactly.
That's bull crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a dick.
We were talking earlier. We talked a lot about the unlawful content clause in this packet equality business of so-called net neutrality, which is really the only thing we're interested in is who's going to determine what prohibited content is, and how will that be enforced. And of course, one piece of the answer to that is if you really want to enforce any type of qualification of content, certainly you're going to have to do packet inspection, and so there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes with that. But really, just what things would be unlawful. Producer Drew sent this note. He said, if you're looking for a good summary of what content can be considered unlawful, I can imagine that the Google AdSense terms and conditions will serve as a disturbingly prescient list for the coming shackles of our net slavery. And I thought that's probably true. That anything that is good enough for content for Google, who like making money, that we could probably expect that to be lawful in net neutrality terms. What do you think?
Yeah, probably, but I don't know. It's an interesting idea.
Well, the list.
I don't think Google's going to be calling the shots on this because they're out to get Google.
Yeah, but I'm just saying when it comes, if you look at culturally in the United States, what is acceptable as lawful content or just acceptable by whatever terms of values we have as a society, I think Google would try to push that as far as possible to make as much money, but still have, an arguably agreeable list. And I think that's probably what we'd see. You don't see it that way? Because I thought that made a lot of sense.
No, I don't see it that way at all, because it's not going to be an inclusive list. It's going to be an exclusive list. It's not going to be a list of what you can do. It's going to be a list of what you can't do.
Correct.
So Google doesn't apply.
But that's what Google has this. They have a list of what you can't have on AdSense. That's my point.
Yeah, but they don't have, there's a lot of stuff on AdSense that you can't do that wouldn't be on. I mean, there's stuff that Google would never think that you shouldn't do. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that's political that Google's not going to put on that list. And the Google, I don't think so. I just don't think so. I think it's dumb.
It's funny you say that, because I thought, actually, because Google has a lot, they're very detailed. It's really completely detailed.
I think there's a lot on that list that would,
for example,
be deemed illegal. Okay, let's put it that way.
All right,
just because Google won't take it as an ad doesn't mean it's going to be made illegal or unlawful. It could be all kinds of reasons they wouldn't. They don't probably take ads for Yahoo, for example.
I just thought there was an interesting list of things like adult content, the way they look at copyrighted material, because these are the things that will matter.
I'd have to look at the list now.
Well, that's why
you're so insistent.
That's why I had the list. Let me just start with adult content. What constitutes adult content that Google will not allow you to advertise on?
Discussions about vaginal creams.
Did you just read that from the list?
Adult content.
Yeah, I think it actually, there's something like that. There's something very similar to that in the list. I'm sure
that women's groups will be up in arms about what you can't do. What? We can't talk about this? We need to. It's for women's health.
Well, here it is. Nudity and pornography. So that's sexually...
the naturalists. We're the nude club here in Hayward, California. We resent being banned from discussing our nudity. By the way, I've always thought that the naturalists were kind of sketchy anyway.
Google ads may not be placed on content that provides tips regarding sexual performance or discusses some treatments of sexual health issues.
The sex therapists will be up in arms about
Examples include, but are not limited to, advice about improving sexual performance, discussions and or images of sexually transmitted diseases, sexual health advice related to pregnancy, childbirth,
sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah. Explicit text and extreme profanity. Google ads may not be placed.
Free speech issues.
Here it comes. Erotic stories and or descriptions of sexual acts, sexual explicit jokes, erotic or sexual forums, bulletin boards and or discussion groups, sexual or profane terms in the URL, crude language, or excessive amounts of profanity.
Well, it'd be half the podcasts out there.
Yeah. Mail order brides.
What's wrong with that?
Well, you can't be in that business if you want to have AdSense.
Well, that's not going to be unlawful.
No, you're probably right.
Half the engineers in Silicon Valley have mail order brides.
But they have an interesting clause here for comment spam. So if you have comment spam that is copy and pasted from other sources, anything that also counts against your lawfulness for the AdSense.
Yeah, see, this is falling apart too soon. It's a specious idea. It sounds good.
Okay, all right,
but it doesn't make any sense when you're done. All said and done.
I'm good.
I hate to use all said and done because that's when my mental fix for at the end of the day. I don't say the end of the day. I rarely say it, but I always have something that's just as bad.
It's taken a while, but finally, we're going after Kaspersky, the Russian cyber security firm.
Who's going after him?
Well, we are. Bloomberg.
Kaspersky Labs has been an object of fascination for a lot of U.S.-based security folks for a long time. Primarily,
this is a Bloomberg reporter talking about Kaspersky
because it's a Moscow-based company, as you mentioned, and the founder Eugene Kaspersky, was once affiliated with the KGB. But what we've discovered, through our reporting, is that the ties go much deeper than that. For example, one of the most interesting findings is that there's a man at the company named Igor Chekhanov. He's their chief legal officer. Until we started asking questions, he didn't have a public bio on the website, but he holds a large degree of power at that company, and he's essentially the point man for all requests for data from the FSB and other Russian spy agencies and other government agencies. And that's not unlike what many U.S. companies have. But until now, we haven't had a really clear picture of what that looks like at Kaspersky Lab. And that was the point we tried to make in the story, is try to put some names and faces to, what the company's ties to Russian government agencies looks like. And there were some really revealing findings in there.
So they did a scathing article on Kaspersky.
Yeah, just something that looks like a rigged story, if ever there was.
Well, yes. Isn't that just more, get rid of the Russians? They're no good. I've been waiting for that to happen.
The funny thing is that you mentioned that. The funny thing is I've kind of been waiting for that to happen for the last number of years.
Yeah. And here it is, finally.
Because Kaspersky on the surface is fishy.
Well, of course. They're Russian. They're in Moscow.
Because they're Russian.
Yeah. And they're in
Not that these other companies, the Avast and the two or three other ones, they're all Eastern European. Their Panda is in Spain, which is probably the safest one.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of them, there's two or three in the United States. They're all over the place, these guys.
And actually,
it's a good business.
Good business. Well, it is. This Bloomberg guy goes on to explain in this is a pretty short clip how it really works. What the job is truly to sell products of these cybersecurity companies.
And one of the reasons Kaspersky Lab is able to put out such reports is that they are places where U.S. companies are not. But also there is a tendency at the company to focus on those threats, at the expense of, let's say Russian-based hacking attacks that U.S. companies really like to focus on. So there's this split. And as one analyst said, there's a cyber isolationism that's occurring, within the industry, that if you're a U.S.-based company with ties to the NSA, you're going to report on Russian-based hacks and Chinese-based hacks. If you're a Russian-based company, you're going to focus on U.S.-based hacks. And we're seeing that split emerging, and Kaspersky's a really kind of great example of that.
Here's my problem.
This is a good business.
If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me. Kaspersky's the ones who busted us on Stuxnet.
Yes.
So we have to get back at them.
There you go.
Because Stuxnet should have never been revealed, and I think there's something else floating around out there similar.
It's the what is that thing? Yeah, it has a crazy name. It's been embedded, for decades or something. It's like just pieces have been
everybody's
uploaded.
Got it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the herpes of computers.
Hold on a second.
Now,
the herpes of computers, really?
Yeah, you can put that one in.
I like it.
Okay, we have a stupid commercial. There's a 15-second commercial. I couldn't understand it when I first saw it. What are they doing? And it's obviously a British product. It's got a British announcer talking about the loo, the bathroom, which I don't think half the Americans know what a loo is, but okay. They're going to run this stupid commercial for Continental, and I'm thinking, what are they advocating?
Did you use the loo paper in there?
I did.
How was it?
It's good.
Why do you think that the ripples work?
Because it gets it all clean.
Are you so clean that you would go commando?
Okay.
How do you feel?
I feel awesome.
Only Cottonelle has clean ripple texture, so you can go commando.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Apparently, going commando is pantyless while wearing pants.
Yes.
So your butt is being cleaned by your jeans, essentially, if you haven't really done a good job with this Cottonelle. I just think this commercial is just completely outrageous.
Where did this air?
It airs all over. I've seen it 2 or 3 times. It's on the network television.
I haven't watched television. I've been out of the country.
Have you been in the loo?
Yes, Commando, I have.
Go Commando.
But is this loo paper? Is it the loo paper that makes you your hiney so shiny that you can go commando without soiling your pants? Is that what I understood?
Yeah, you got it. You summarized.
Yeah. That's groovy.
That's groovy.
What are we doing? This is the level that content is sunk to. That should be deemed illegal content there.
I would agree.
That's disgusting.
Illegal content.
That is disgusting. Finally, for me, this Clinton Haiti scandal. I'm enjoying this immensely.
I bet.
Because, of course, the day after the George Clooney organized, well, way before it even, the George Clooney organized telethon, around the world, people were texting and phoning in their $10, €10 donations. And from pretty much the get-go, we followed this closely on this show. The money is gone. It seems to be in Clinton's web of money. The Clinton Global Initiative, the complete shills being put in as president, just a total madhouse. And now Hillary Clinton's brother, it's coming to light, although we must have talked about it 2 years ago. But okay, of course now we have Republicans out trying to discredit Hillary, so now they push this out there. They saved it. Ha! I got a good one. That her brother got these gold mine rights. They paid almost nothing for it, which is true. Because that's how the Clintons operate. Yes. Yeah. Well, you're not really going to hear it, I don't think, because people don't give a shit. They don't care. They just don't care. So the Haiti thing.
I'm voting for Hillary because she's a woman.
Let me see. I have Clinton here. This is a leading Haitian lawyer and human rights activist, Azili Danto charges UN envoy to Haiti, Bill Clinton, as head of the Haitian Relief Fund, was responsible for some $6 billion of international relief aid received. Less than 1% of this amount made it to the Haitian government. Bill Clinton had total control of the balance. She adds Hillary and Bill Clinton opened Haiti, in quotes, as their private asset to liquidate. This sounds exactly right. We're open for business to liquidate this whole country. They used the resources of the World Bank, the State Department, USAID, and the UN, the private military security contractors, the U.S. military, and the Fed's passport and visa issuance capability. They got kickbacks called donations from anyone who wished to buy from them a piece of the Haitian lands, the oil, iridium, uranium, or gold. The Clintons have used governmental power to conduct their private business and call it helping poor Haitians. Danto adds that Bill Clinton made no attempt to conceal his Haiti aid corruption. Neither did U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. They pushed their own Haiti staff members into nominal positions of power to rubber stamp their edicts. Haiti Prime Minister Gary Conille, who succeeded Jean-Max Bellerive, worked as chief of staff for Bill Clinton as a UN development expert. Cheryl Mills, another Clinton staffer named in the Clinton email-gate scandal, who today is on the board of the Clinton Foundation, also served as the United States representative on the Interim Haiti Recovery Commission, the IHRC. So you see how the web works. All their friends are in there getting all the deals for the money.
This guy's unbelievable.
And
I guess there's always the room, or I think the tradition in Haiti, according to the Christian missionaries, is that the Haiti's always was sold to the devil, and that's why they've always had problems. And there's always a devil running the place, and that's Clinton. Sounds right to me.
The Washington Post is all over this story, so it's got legs. It's got legs, and I'm thinking
they're going after Hillary. You're right.
Yeah, I think today or tomorrow, the Clintons are going to start whacking people pretty soon. You got to be careful with them. Now you're going to see people committing suicide. Bad coke.
Bad coke. That'll be the what happened? He's dead, Jim.
2 to the head, gun in the left hand. That kind of stuff. You watch. This is going to happen. We are at a very bad, very bad point. When you push the Clintons into this kind of corner, I think it's going to be pretty bad. But anyway, I'm happy to see this because, yes, if you just go to search.nashownotes.com and type in Haiti, you can see how long we've been looking at this. And the thing that just bothers me is that no one is outraged that these people stole your money. Stole your money. These guys here.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
Just send your cash. We had 3 presidents saying this. No water, no blankets, send your cash. And they put it in their own pocket and gave it to their friends and relatives. Please.
We can't even get donations.
Jeez. People. Stop that.
We got to do one more thing. I just want to get this out of the way because we're falling behind on a couple of topics. And I just want to throw in a backgrounder on this one. Actually, I have two of these I'd like to get rid of.
Okay.
One is the background of the Venezuela situation. We do not talk about. We have people that bitch at us for this. Somehow Obama has declared Venezuela a huge threat to our national security.
Yes, there was an executive
for
order.
unknown reasons, and we're still their top trading partner while sanctioning them. There's something, of course, this is one of these make goods where some didn't go as planned. It's in the book, The Confessions of an Economic Hitman, about Venezuela and why we got a grudge against them. It's all about the oil and who owns it, and they're pumping oil and giving it to the people there, and now
they've given it to poor people. It's just shitty business practice.
It's a whole, but the whole operation is sketchy. But play this is on Democracy Now! This is a current rap, which I believe will get us off the hook for not talking about it.
The Obama administration is facing criticism across South America for leveling new sanctions against Venezuela and declaring the country to be a, quote, unusual and extraordinary threat to national security. Woo! On Saturday, foreign ministers of the 12-country Union of South American Nations called for a revocation of the sanctions. In a statement, the ministers said it constitutes an interventionist threat to sovereignty and the principle of non-interference in the internal affairs of other countries. On Thursday, U.S. policy in Venezuela was also questioned during a meeting of the Organization of American States in Washington. Representatives from Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and other nations all criticized the U.S. approach. According to a report by Telesur, Breno Diaz da Costa, Brazil's OAS representative, said, quote, Venezuelan issues should be resolved by the Venezuelan people without sanctions. Jose Miguel Insulza of Chile is Secretary General of the Organization of American States.
We all recognize the right of Venezuela, its people, its government, its political parties, its social organizations, to resolve its problems and crisis without outside interference, with full respect of its constitution and the human rights of all its citizens.
Okay.
That's it. This is the backup. There's nothing to comment on. We just have to
I think we just have to wait for it to unfold. I don't see any other information really coming out of it.
We do have to mention that's in play.
Yeah, but I've consistently been putting under the regime change heading stories about Venezuela and about the executive orders. We just haven't talked about it on the show. It's not like it hasn't been a part of being on our radar or anything.
Right. That's why I just want to make that clear.
Okay. All right.
The only other one is...
And by the way, it's two guys. It's us, two guys.
Yeah, we only have so much time, and these things are not boiling enough for us to get too involved
but
with. But
any help is appreciated. Anything.
Homan Square. There's a Chicago. This has been another story that we haven't covered. It's been bubbling up, and it's still floating around. And it's like a Gitmo Guantanamo Bay warehouse in the middle.
This is where Chicago cops are throwing people.
Chicago cops bring guys in there. They don't book them. They beat them up. They don't book them. The lawyer can't get in. The lawyers can't even get near the place. And the lawyers are bitching and moaning. Yeah. And now there's some suits happening. And this is a Homan Square. By the way, Chicago, I'm sure this thing's been around for a while, but let's play the Homan Square clip, and then I'm done with that for now.
A top Chicago police commander has resigned following reports of abusive methods at the secretive Homan Square compound. The Guardian revealed people taken to the nondescript warehouse have been denied access to attorneys, beaten, and held incommunicado without notification to their families. The Guardian now reports Nicholas Roti, chief of the Bureau of Organized Crime, which operates out of Homan, resigned last week. Attorneys for 3 people held at Homan have announced plans to file a civil rights lawsuit in a bid to shut the facility down.
The only thing interesting about this story to me, because it's not really a total surprise that something like this would be going on in Chicago, but what's interesting is that only the Guardian, a British paper, is covering it. The local papers won't touch it.
Why is that?
Because they don't want to get beat up, taken it home, and tortured. I have no idea other than that. The Guardian, even when it's in another paper, like in the New York Times, where I saw a report like yesterday, it was all quoting from the Guardian. The Guardian is the only people that I guess Chicago is a corrupt, crappy place.
Well, yeah, because they're run by MI5 or MI6.
The Guardian. Well, then what's the deal? What's going on with Chicago? What's the deal with the Guardian? And let's just see what happens if Coochie wins the election.
You mean Chewy?
Chewy.
Coochie?
Coochie Garcia.
Coochie may just very well win the election. Well, that's April 7th, I think. Is it not? It's coming up real soon.
Right after my birthday.
Okay. All right. So your birthday, well, we still have one show before your birthday.
Yeah, April 5th is my birthday, and that'll be Easter.
Nice. And we'll be working on Easter.
Yes, we'll be working both on Easter and my birthday, which is the same day.
Yeah. Which only happens once every... Twice in a lifetime.
Again for another 11 years, but it hasn't happened since 53.
There you go. All right, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in to what you have bestowed us with that honor is the best podcast in the universe. We will return on Thursday with more analysis, deconstruction of the news, the media that is mainstream, the Hollywood PR, and, of course, more of the Weekly Hooker Report.
And go to the best go vote for us for the best podcast at the Podcast Awards.
Good idea.
I don't know why, his chances of winning. We never got anyone to do a bot that I know of.
Coming to you from FEMA Region 6 here in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the drought is over, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Thursday, right here on No Agenda. Amen. Fist bump.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to rubblize!
Amen. Fist bump.
Bomb them. We need to kill and bomb them. Bomb them. We need to kill and bomb them. Bomb them. We need to bomb them. We need to kill them and bomb them again.
So, have more kale, 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 have more kale. It was worth it. You will obey.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA